right, well, good evening, folks, and welcome back inside the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi, Texas. For the first time in nearly a month, a 5-game road stretch and a 12-day holiday break later, we're back in the Coastal Bend to bring you some IceRays hockey. My name is Alex Von Coydel. To our audience on HockeyTV.com and on YouTube tonight, thanks so much for joining us, everyone, on the IceRays Broadcast Network. 2 Saturdays ago, the Rays had their best offensive show. Have been doing that to virtually everybody, folks. The weekend before their holiday break, they hosted the Amarillo Bulls at Georgia's Pond Coliseum, decisively sweeping Amarillo and collectively outscoring them 11-3 over that weekend series. They've got the best record in the North American Hockey League at 22-5-4, and they've got the league's hottest goaltender at the moment in James Durham. The Grand Rapids, Michigan native has won 6 of his last 7 starts. He's risen to the top of the NAHL in both goals against average and save percentage. If there's somebody who may be equal to the challenge of slowing down this IceRays attack, which is poised for big things tonight, he is the guy. As for the Rays, a few new faces will grace the locker room tonight. 3 players were brought in over the holiday break. 2 of them are in the lineup. Julian Macri, 20-year-old playmaking forward, played 16 games with the NAHL's Philadelphia Rebels this season, registering a goal and 6 assists throughout. Philadelphia, by the way, always a very strong team. Any player who comes from that program is certainly one that can be trusted, especially on the defensive side of the puck. Speaking of defense, Ryan Rosenberg, a big, steady defenseman from New York, 6'3", 220 pounds, another new addition to the IceRays. He's slated to play alongside Trevor Wilhelm tonight. A left-handed shot on the back end is something the IceRays have been in search of lately. They've got one now in Ryan Rosenberg. There's been talk for quite some time about who is going to step in and fill the void left behind by Tucker White last season, who was such a big presence, even in the games in which the IceRays were severely outplayed and didn't really have much of a chance in winning. He always brought an element that caused his opponents to respect Corpus Christi and fend off a little bit if they're repeatedly going after star players. This might be something that Ryan Rosenberg does well. Protects star players, and he certainly has shown he has the ability to protect his own net as well. We'll see how he meshes this evening alongside Trevor Wilhelm. And finally, Dakota Concannon played with the New Jersey Rockets in the NCDC this season. He is not dressed for tonight, but look for him to possibly make an appearance tomorrow. Macri will wear the number 21, Rosenberg 4, and Concannon 19. For those of you on HockeyTV.com who would like to familiarize yourself with these new additions, they do not yet have nameplates on their jerseys. Let's take a quick glance at the Ed Hicks Nissan 3 keys of tonight's game. Number 1, dictating the tone, setting the pace early. Don't wait to find out how this game is going to be played. Both of these teams are coming off of a 12-day or so breaks, which is very unusual in this league. So dictating the pace of the game and deciding how it's going to be played early is going to be paramount tonight. Number 2, tight gaps. The last time these teams came together, the IceRays did manage to do that fairly well. They kept the score close. It was 2-0 at the end when it was all said and done, but the IceRays just couldn't get a goal. They couldn't solve James Durham. Coach Flynn noted it as a sort of a sloppy game played on both parts. I think that was an accurate assessment. But there have been times this season where Shreveport has been able to utilize its speed to gain some separation and get quality scoring chances because of it. So cracking down on gaps and maintaining a tight distance, especially on Shreveport's top guns, will be essential for victory tonight as well. And number 3, finally, keeping up the offensive creativity. We just said it, Corpus Christi scored 7 goals in its last game. While they're not expecting to do that again, they can certainly harken back to some of the things they did extremely well against Odessa 2 weeks ago and apply them to their game plan here tonight. These have been your Ed Hicks Nissan 3 keys of tonight's game. We'll hear what the IceRays head coach Brad Flynn has to say about his plan momentarily. We're going to take things over to the coach's corner for tonight's Flinterview. Stand by, folks. We'll be back. Game between the IceRays and the Mudbugs. We're super excited to be back from break. I've got the IceRays head coach Going back a little ways now, the last day before the break was the team's best offensive output of the season, 7-3 stomping over the Odessa Jackalopes on the road. What were some of the keys to reaching such an outstanding result that you took away from it?
I think that we just had total buy-in from everybody that played that game. It's a big focus game. It's a tough game because with being away on break or the break coming up, it's always hard to be focused, especially at this with this age group. But they were extremely focused. We lost a couple players due to penalties and injuries and whatnot during the game, and I thought that as a group, everybody kind of pulled on the rope together, and I was really impressed with how we responded to the night before.
And they got a pretty big monkey off their back, too, finally beating Odessa after so many close decisions went the other way. Is that an added bonus now that they've proven they can beat every team in the division?
Yeah, it's always nice when you can. You don't think about it really that much until you're not doing it, and when that happens, you're like, geez, we didn't beat them all year. It doesn't creep into your head, but you know that you're due, and they know that we're a good team, and we respect them, and they knew that we're due to win one, and I think deep down, guys wanted to get that done going into the second half, so now we can just look forward to accumulating more wins throughout the division.
And, Coach, somebody who should be able to probably help with that, Alexi Peltonen, he's back now. What does that mean for this team?
Oh, it's big. He's a big part of the team. But I can't say enough about the guys that stepped up when he was gone. We played against all three teams are higher than us in the standings. We went 3-1-1, and whether it was Garrett Halford, Noah Roof, Pavel Koroshkov, CJ Regula, 3 assists in his last game. Like all of our centers stepped up. I called them out a little bit a couple weeks ago, and I was really impressed by them. So adding Alexi back, it's great. It's adding a top end player without having to give up anything, and we're excited to have him back. And I know that he's happy to be here.
Definitely makes for a good dynamic up front and a very deep center spot now. It looks like all the way through 1 through 4 for the IceRays, getting Alexi Peltonen back in the lineup. And like Coach Flynn just said, it definitely helps not really having to get rid of anybody to bring him back in. And we'll see if the centers who did step in for him while he was absent continue their excellent production they had while he was away. Coach, both sides are not only coming off dominant performances in their last tilts, but they're both well rested as well. Just like the IceRays, Shreveport also had last week off. That's rare. It doesn't happen often in this league. So with that in mind, what are going to be some of the important elements for you heading into tonight?
Well, I think just coming back off Christmas break, it's just getting back into the mix, and it's making sure that we do the little things right. We get our feet moving early. We're aggressive on the puck. We're throwing a lot of pucks to the net. The last game that we played them, we didn't accumulate tons of chances, but it was just one of those quiet games. Both teams. We got to make sure that we get more bodies to the net tonight, and we keep it simple, especially early on. We don't try to give up too much because obviously they're first in the division for a reason. They can really make you pay.
Well, Shreveport, their goaltender has been outstanding of late. He's crept to the top of the NAHL in both save percentage and goals against average. But the IceRays are also coming off of their best offensive showing since March 4th, which we'll see which side prevails here tonight. Should be an interesting one to keep your eye on. Coach, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot, Alex.
That's Brad Flynn, the head coach of your Corpus Christi IceRays, and this has been Coach's Corner.
We'll be right back for starting lineups and more in just a moment. Keep it right here.
All right, well, welcome back. As promised, here are tonight's starting lineups. We're going to start with Shreveport. They're not messing around, getting right down to business. Their starting centerman, Kieran Durgan, who's been one of the hottest players in the NAHL since coming back from the USHL early this season, has been a point-per-game player for Carlos Zirnis and the Mudbugs. He will be centering his wingmen Robert Baranovskis on his left and Georgi Fedulov on his right. All kinds of skill. Carlos Zirnis loading up that top line. Those three are going to be all over the place tonight. The IceRays are going to have to keep a very watchful eye on numbers 20, 8, and 14. On defense, Dominic Procopio and Nikolai Jensen. In net, James Durham. No surprises here. It actually started out with Gustav Grigals as sort of the undisputed #1 goaltender, even though Durham had been quietly having one outstanding game after another. He just never quite earned Carlos Zirnis' favor as the top goaltender in Shreveport. And now, that's a different story. Well, Gustavs went to represent Team Latvia in the Baltic Cup with his head coach, Carlos Zirnis, and in his absence, James Durham played in every single game, and boy, did he shine. He has risen to the top of the NAHL in the most important goaltending statistics, goals against average and save percentage, of course. They're so phenomenal, I'm going to recite them right now. 1.56 goals against, 942 save percentage. And he is certainly going to make things challenging for the IceRays tonight to keep up their high-flying offensive attack. Some of the people responsible for doing that will be named off momentarily by the IceRays public address announcer for our starting lineups. And they're hitting the ice right now for the first time. Thanks so much for joining us here, folks, on the IceRays Broadcast Network, a Thursday night tilt, the last one we're going to be having this season. And shortly after this, the IceRays are going to have another midweek game. They're playing against Shreveport again, though it will be at George's Pond this time on January 2nd, so the day after New Year's Day. And then that weekend, they're going to be playing in Fort Worth against the Lone Star Brahmas on Friday, January 5th, and Saturday, January 6th. Here tonight's starting lineups for your IceRays. The captain, number 14, Brendan Miller, who had 2 goals in his last game against the Odessa Jackalopes. He was, in all likelihood, the man who was most responsible for that blowout, that 7-3 victory the IceRays had over Odessa. Garrett Halford will be centering this line. Sporting number 10, a veteran, has played in every single game this season for Brad Flynn, the only forward remaining who can say this. And now here's Julian Mackery. You just saw him skate out, number 21. Doesn't have a nameplate yet, but we'll get one made for him. Kalen Taylor on defense alongside Connor Yanni on his right side. A very sturdy defensive pair for Brad Flynn and Ryan Anderson. It's about as sturdy as it gets for a top defensive pair. In net, Jake Acton will get another start. He had his best performance of the season a couple of weeks ago against the Odessa Jackalopes, and he gets the nod to take on Shreveport for the first time this season. Check that, second time this season. The first time was when Chad Veltri was away on a college visit to Niagara, came back a couple days later with his Division I college commitment in the books. These have been your starting lineups. We're going to take a quick pause while we await the singing of our country's national anthem. In the meantime, we'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. Well, Coach Flynn was faced with an interesting dilemma upon the return of Alexi Peltonen. It's a good problem to have when one of your star players returns Without him, the Ice Rays fared quite well. The centerman who stepped in to fill his place and step in and fill the void did an exceptional job. One of them, Pavel Koreshkov, is not here at the moment, but Garrett Halford, CJ Regula, Noah Roof, and others, Mattis Haverla, who filled that spot, did an exceptional job. And now, with Alexei back, it's sort of nobody was sure where he would go on the right half wall. He will cycle it down towards Fedulov in the corner and play it along for Barnovskis, who's rubbed off the puck there by Miller. Durgan cycles and turns, tries to bat it down to Barnovskis, who will send one into an empty area. Taylor now occupying that. He's in a battle for the puck with Georgi Fedulov. Kieran Durgan lurking around the perimeter of that scrap. Nice no-look pass by Garrett Halford up to Brendan Miller, who will split one up the middle now for Julian Mackery. Mackery surrounded by 4 purple sweaters. He runs out of real estate. Now here comes Cam Cook the other direction, looking for the toe drag. Lost the puck to Kalen Taylor. The puck flutters high in the air, stays in play, just chipped off the top of the glass. Youngworth jimmies one out of the defensive zone and out to center. Geisber's covering ground nicely there. This first period of Ice Rays hockey is brought to you by First Title Company. We're a minute into the contest here at the ABC. Scoreless, Ice Rays Mudbugs. The American Bank Center. As Jake Transit's shot was denied by Jake Acton, his first save of the game. Backhand attempt from Fader gets blocked by a pair of Ice Rays skates. Jacob Skolnick sends it down towards the adjacent corner. St. Ange, with some help, able to work it past his own goal line. St. Ange was brought down behind the play. He thought there might have been a penalty called. None forthcoming, but here comes Trevor Wilhelm nevertheless. He chips it in past Skolnick, heads to the Ice Rays bench to make a change. Andrew Lane scooping it up behind his own net. Gets it to his longtime buddy Ryan Burnett. Down goes Lane behind the play. No penalty will be called. Fader lobbing one ahead. He led one nicely for Cole Quisenberry, who's checked from behind by Matt Acioli. Acioli with 3 assists in his last game against Odessa in that 7-3 victory. And he has, I think, undoubtedly established himself as the Ice Rays' #1 defenseman this season. Blake Coffey passed that with his hand. The Mudbugs played it first, so the whistle does not blow and play continues. Coffey angles one off the half wall, and Angus Scott will fly one into the left corner. It will carry him there. Jensen is ridden into the wall by CJ Regula as the puck rolls out towards the Shreveport blue line, and it's picked up by Jay Fewell, who's got some speed across the Ice Rays line. His wrist shot is dealt with by Jacob Acton. Now it's fed back from Quisenberry to Procopio. Long screen shot, didn't get all the way through. Fairmouth had it jabbed off his blade, and Procopio couldn't hold the zone. Dominic Procopio, the Shreveport captain, leading all defensemen in points for the Mudbugs this season as well, with 24 and a +19 rating. The Ice Rays able to work this puck out of their own zone. Noah Roof with a backhand pass finds Bud Winter down the left side, hoping to drive it wide on Geisbers, who knocked it off his stick. Going into the corner to battle for it is Mattis Haverla, and the Slovak winger is harassed by Brendan Geisbers. A delayed penalty is going to be called. Shreveport will be guilty, and it looks like it's going to be a slash against the Mudbugs. Brendan Geisbers heading to the sin bin. And just 3 minutes into this contest, the Ice Rays will go to the power play. Shreveport's penalty kill is among the best in the NAHL, though the discrepancy between their home penalty kill and their road penalty kill is very substantial. They're a lot better killing off penalties in their own rink. Acioli with an excellent skate-to-stick reception to keep the puck alive at the blue line, but finally it's knocked off of his stick and Youngworth and chased down now by Durgan, who could get a short 2-on-1. He just fired it on net. Acton was down with a butterfly save, and now Corpus Christi comes out with a potential 3-on-2 developing. Left half boards, it's Miller, slipping it on back to Matt Acioli. Acioli surveying his options, steals it down to Youngworth. St. Ange sets up shop in his customary spot in the right circle. Acioli at the top of the umbrella for St. Ange. Out of Acioli for Youngworth. Taps it along for St. Ange, and he had to reach back his stick. Failed to keep it in the zone. This Ice Rays power play is brought to you by AEP Texas. Durham halts the puck behind his own net. Alex Spencer overskates it a bit, recollects it, and clears. Puck wobbles past the Ice Rays goal line, Acton out of his net to play it, and the Ice Rays make a complete 5-man line change. Blake Coffey assumes command of the puck as he starts it from in behind his own net and rushes out to center with it. Coffey over the red line, fires it around the wall. Mackery cuts it off. Scott had it knocked off his stick. Good keep by Coffey. Slapped on net. Tipped by Halford. Stopped by Durham. Halford first to it. Cycles it to Scott. Scott working for it against Jacob Skolnick. Cook failed to clear it. Coffey will hold it left point. D pass over to Connor Yanni. Back to Coffey. He scored from this exact spot against Shreveport just less than a month ago. Looked as though it would have been poised as the game-winning goal, but Brendan Geisbers tied the game with 35 seconds remaining on a one-timer from the left circle, forcing overtime and eventually a shootout, which would be decided by Alexei Peltonen's game-winning shootout goal. Blake Coffey crosses over the blue line. Offside is the whistle, so we get a stoppage in play. That offside was brought to you by Ad Alliance. 15-12 to go in the first period. No score here at the American Bank Center. A baker's dozen to go on this IceRays man advantage. Looks like Coach Flynn sent out his even strength line. Mattis Haverla over the Shreveport line. Alex Spencer getting his stick lifted by Bud Winter relentlessly. It slides out to Jay Fewell, who will slam it off the sidewall, intercepted by Rosenberg. Here comes Winter, who's got some room. Winter steps in and fires. Gets blocked by Andrew Lane's stick, and it pinballs out of play. Take a quick pause here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. We're about 5 minutes into this contest, no score. Please enjoy a message from one of our sponsors, Get Air. In the meantime, we'll be right back here on HockeyTV.com and on YouTube. Don't go anywhere.
Christie's newest place for fun. 30,000 square feet of trampoline park with foam pits, ball, ninja courts, dodgeball. A place to let your inner spirit soar. Show you've got game. Harness your inner ninja and burn up the competition. Parties from 5 to 500. Kids, corporate, and adult team building. It's the #1 place for fun in Corpus Christi. Get out. Get active. Get air. 4701 South Staple Street in Corpus Christi.
Noah Roof will send the puck behind the Shreveport goal line. Procopio there to intercept it. Misfired on the pass. Wilhelm off the interception. A strange change in direction there. James Durham able to throw his stick out and make an awkward save. Dominic Procopio has it in his own zone, and the Mudbugs captain will angle it off his own end boards. Nikolai Jensen feeds it ahead up the right wing side, and it's Jack Yannick flying one into the left corner now, pursued by Trevor Wilhelm and Jake Transit, the former of whom got there first. Wilhelm will send it up to Angus Scott, wrapped up by a couple of bodies. Transit through one rink wide across the crease, picked off by Jason Demizio. Will try to bat one to himself. The linesman interfering with that attempt. That's CJ Regula dealing it on back, and Rosenberg will feed Scott. Here's Regula. Goes in after it himself in the left corner, is checked by Geisbers, but stays on his skates. Demizio swooping in to work for it, outnumbered 2-1. Regula tries to even the odds there. Puck battle going on along the far half wall. It's won by Shreveport, and Cole Quisenberry will punch one out. Cam Cook returns it, rather Burnett did. Quisenberry going wide on Coffey and shooting. Acton with good rebound control made the save and prevented a second shot from coming on net, and our first pseudo scrap taking place shortly thereafter. I give a quick shout out, a heartfelt shout out to one of Shreveport's defensemen, Jack Clement, who is not here today because he's back home mourning the death of his grandmother. He's flying into Corpus tomorrow. He is scheduled to play tomorrow. He may and he may not. But our thoughts and prayers are with Jack Clement and his family. Shreveport winning the offensive zone draw. Lane with a long screen shot that just missed. It's hacked on net. Glove side. Acton made a pair of butterfly saves, it looked like, with his pads. Now Georgi Fedulov Trying to work his way to the front. Shot on net by Baranowski, stopped by Acton. Durgan cutting it off on the left half wall, and then he tried to feed it down to Baranowskis. It's intercepted by Garrett Halford. Halford can't clear it. And the Latvian-born winger, Robert Baranowskis, takes it deep into IceRays territory and then feeds it down to Kieran Durgan. Slapped along the wall, back to the point. Long shot tipped on net. Acton made a shoulder save this time. Now Durgan will turn and send one into the slot, intercepted. It pinballs right to Blake Coffey, who skates it out of harm's way and fires it in on net from about 100 feet. Shreveport's netminder James Durham able to make the save. As Halford's wild shot goes about 8 feet wide. He will collect the puck now in the right corner. Spin it back behind the Shreveport goal. Jacob Skolnick back to Andrew Lane. 12:18 to play in the first period. Scoreless at the ABC between the IceRays and the Mudbugs. Both teams battling for positioning in the South Division. Though Shreveport's pretty well established in first place at the moment. They've got an 11-point edge on the Lone Star Brahmas, who have fallen behind a little bit. The IceRays, in the meantime, can gain some ground on both Lone Star and on Odessa, as that puck's been cleared by Shreveport directly out of play, so we get a whistle stopping play. As it stands right now, the IceRays are 4 points behind the Odessa Jackalopes in the standings and 3 points ahead of Amarillo, both of whom are idle tonight, which gives the IceRays a unique opportunity to make up some lost ground. But Amarillo and Odessa will be playing each other 3 games in a row from tomorrow until Sunday. Long screenshot by Wilhelm, save, rebound, score! Larry Youngworth found it, they're waving this off. The referee immediately skates behind the net to wave this off. Larry Youngworth appeared to be very convinced that he had backhanded it past James Durham, at the very least past the goal line, and without a second thought, the referee, Tyler Brumfield, skated in from right behind the Shreveport net and gave the washout signal. He's having a word with the goal judge right now. We'll see what the decision is. I get a good look at it here. Durham had his blocker sprawled out all the way out to the near post there on your screen. It's inconclusive based on that replay whether the puck completely crossed the goal line. Riley St. Ange, Dominic Procopio are the choices to be both teams' spokesmen at center ice and discuss the call with Tyler Brumfield. So this is not a goal. Just under a dozen minutes to play, no score, and that what would have been Youngworth's third goal in his last 2 games was just wiped out. But he gets another chance here, takes it wide, holds on, tries to tuck it in, stays out. Here's a chance, backhand shot denied. Another opportunity blocked by Peltonen, and Rosenberg, nearly in his IceRays debut, just scored a goal. It's a bit of a dangerous step there trying to keep the attack going, but the IceRays are right back into the offensive zone. Puck is flung over to Trevor Wilhelm on the right side. Dealt on back, Rosenberg. One-timer from Youngworth is stopped by Durham, and he'll hang on to that puck for dear life after all that helter-skelter surrounding his net for the last minute or so. And Ryan Rosenberg, that's got to be just his second or third shift as an IceRay, and he had 2 opportunities to score. Had the puck on his backhand twice. The first shot got blocked by the crowd. The second shot I saw clearly deflect off the skate of Alexei Peltonen, who inadvertently saved a goal. Shreveport winning the defensive zone draw. Ryan Burnett, the recipient of the pass out at center. He will feed Fader across the IceRays blue line, and it's dealt on over to the left side for Cole Quisenberry. Fader again behind the net, wrapped up by Kalen Taylor as the puck squirts out to the left point. Alex Spencer turned it on net, deflects just wide. Connor Yanni got his skate in the way of that shot. It's fired by Jordan Fader from the half wall. That one was wide as well. This time it squirts on net, and it's hacked out of the blue paint at the last moment. That was nearly a wobbler that went past Jake Acton. Shreveport had one like that back on December 3rd, just a looping shot on net from the half boards, unscreened, that was just sort of whiffed on. And that sort of looked pretty similar. But Acton holds on to that shot with his glove and will take a defensive zone whistle. 10.5 to play here in period one, no score. Not a lot going on around the NAHL tonight either. It's a pretty quiet night. It is Thursday after all. Just one other game taking place this evening. Minnesota Magicians right now with a 1-0 advantage over the Janesville Jets in southern Wisconsin tonight. Halfway through the first period of that game as well. Angus Scott receiving the pass. Out with it comes Corpus Christi. It's dumped into Shreveport territory. Andrew Lane goes pursuing it. CJ Regula trying to stymie him. Jason DeMizio wraps him up. Barnovskis able to send one off the glass. Jumping keep made by Coffey, who slapped it on net. DeMizio played that puck with a high stick. And the referee, Tyler Brumfield, saw what happened, so he blows the whistle. Well, that was an excellent keep at the right point by Blake Coffey. Not very often, following a jumping play like that, not very often does a player have the poise and the hand-eye coordination to settle the puck down and actually get a shot off from it, and that's exactly what Blake Coffey did. Not only did he get a shot off from it, he sort of caused a bit of a headache again for James Durham, and with Jason DeMizio lurking there, made things all the more difficult. Unfortunately, it just went off of a high stick. It was above the height of the crossbar. DeMizio's stick. Off back in the IceRays zone was won by the home side, and it just barely dribbles across the Shreveport blue line onside, but it's fired out immediately thereafter. Acioli having to do some damage control out at center. Oh, and Nikolai Jensen was just smashed by Angus Scott from the right side. It's fired on net. Jake Acton made a blocker save. Now Zach Fairmouth slips it back to Fewell, who blasts it. Another save is made in net by Jake Acton. Brendan Miller, in the meantime, will pass it to himself. Charges in after it as he sends Nikolai Jensen into the end boards. Garrett Halford cuts it off. Left point slap shot. Missed the far side post. Wilhelm, right point, ankles one off the backboards. Mackery feeds it on back. Taylor touches it along for Wilhelm, whose shot is snagged by James Durham. So check that. It wasn't Taylor. It was Rosenberg who fed Wilhelm the D-to-D pass, and he's enjoying his IceRays debut. Already with a few crisp passes, smart plays, good heads-up decisions, and 2 opportunities to score a goal as a defenseman in his debut. I can't say that's happened too often. Geisbers sends it around to Yannick, slams it as hard as he possibly could, but couldn't quite clear it past Mackery, who goes in after it on the forecheck. It's fired past him, out to the neutral zone. Rosenberg got it to Wilhelm, who gets it to Mackery. Geisbers retrieving it behind his own goal. Alex Spencer, the recipient of the reverse, feeds it up to Jake Transit. He's onside with Cam Cook on his left, Fader on his right, rather Yannick. Transit goes wide on Connor Yanni, loses possession to Mackery, who's been out there for some time, but made a smart play to find his fellow Canadian Riley St. Onge with that backhand pass. Garrett Halford again getting it deep into the Mudbugs zone. Past the halfway point of the first period, 8.5 to play in period one, still no score. As the puck's been flown into the left corner, Andrew Lane is ridden into the wall by Connor Yanni. Youngworth's forced to turn back. Cole Quisenberry didn't give him much room to work with to try to get it out of his own zone. Taylor bats one ahead. Riley St. Onge with a good saucer pass that's settled by Youngworth beautifully as he skates in and fires from a pretty tough angle, and James Durham able to cut it off. Didn't give him much daylight on that short side post. I want to take one last commercial timeout here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. Again, thanks so much for joining us, folks. Hope you're having a great Thursday night. We'll be right back.
Radiology and Imaging is the official imaging center of your IceRays. Award winner 7 years in a row provides diagnostic imaging services in a caring, comforting patient environment with leading-edge imaging technology. Their extensive expertise in medical imaging allows them to not only give physicians and patients the very best in service and care, but your IceRays as well. So the next time you need imaging done, call Radiology and Imaging at 853-4503. That's 853-4503.
So it's that line again, stepping in to take an offensive zone draw. Peltonen with St. Ange and with Youngworth. The latter of the two both had multi-point games in the IceRays last game as Coffey takes a slap shot from the left point that's tipped on net. Durham had to make a low stick save. Now it's Youngworth coming off the boards with it, slapping one into an unoccupied corner. Along for Procopio, who feeds Jensen. Nice touch pass to Spring Jordan Fader. He will wobble one into the IceRays zone. Acton will halt it in its tracks and take a defensive zone draw. Give a special shout out to some family tuning in back home in Northbrook, Illinois. My Oma, my dad and my uncle Eric, dad's wife Connie, and my cousins Max and Ben, my brother Nick. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I had a great time visiting all of you guys. I hope we can do it again sometime soon. Kieran Durgan getting the job done, an offensive zone win. Now Fedulov is wrapped up by Trevor Wilhelm and CJ Regula. No room to maneuver, and somehow he managed to find Baranovskis. Right point shot just off the mark. I think Acton might have just gotten a piece of it to steer it wide with his blocker. Puck was lifted over CJ Regula's stick. Durgan pursuing it now. Rosenberg is closely behind him. Durgan able to elude him for the time being. Baranovskis will center it out in front, right on the doorstep, knocked away from Fedulov. And now it's carried out by Angus Scott for Corpus Christi. Scott is checked by Alex Spencer. Wilhelm battling for it right in front of the player benches. It's stopped behind the Shreveport net now by James Durham. Both teams in the midst of partial line changes for the time being. Geisbers slapping it out to the neutral zone. Fewell intercepting it there, dropping it back to Geisbers, and here he comes. Geisbers guides it over the blue line. Here's a shot from the top of the right circle that never ended up getting on net. Acton didn't have to make a save. Van Sweden had it knocked off his stick by Noah Roof. Winter has cleared it. Settled by Skolnick. Ooh, and Skolnick nearly gave it away to Bud Winter, who might have had a breakaway had he managed to put his finger on that, maintain possession, and storm the other zone. As Lane will fire it in from center ice, and an easy save is made by Acton in net. 10-9 now your shots favoring Corpus Christi. Already, we've still got 6 minutes remaining here in the first period. Pretty high shooting affair thus far. Rolling puck goes behind Durham's net. He's out of his goal to play it. Can't clear it past Noah Roof at the blue line. Havrila jostling for it with Cam Cook. Andrew Lane goes behind his own net. Andrew Lane with 19 assists this season. It took him quite some time to familiarize himself with the pace and the speed of the NAHL last season. Definitely struggled to crack the lineup and stay in the lineup consistently. Certainly been one of Shreveport's more improved players this season. Jacob Skolnick slithers out in front of his own net and feeds Transit on the right side, his off wing. Good diagonal pass. Cam Cook put it in front. It's deflected wide by Andrew Lane. Cook right back on it. Leads Shreveport in scoring against the IceRays this season with 8 points. And Blake Coffey, who's got it now, leads all IceRays in scoring against Shreveport this season with 4 points. It's dropped for Halford by Mackery. Over his shoulder it goes. Coffey recovering the puck at center. He waits. He's onside now and slaps it wide of the short side post. Halford from the right half wall. Tried to feed Mackery. 3 or 4 purple jerseys surrounding him. Nothing was going to come from that. Nikolai Jensen It to Dominic Procopio. Fling one out and somehow lands right on the tape of Ryan Burnett, who will shovel it into the IceRays zone. 4.5 to go in the first period, no score. It's banked along the boards, and Peltonen able to just turn it out to the neutral zone. Alexei Peltonen played 4 games in the month of December for the USHL's Omaha Lancers. In his absence, a lot of players had to step up and pick up the slack. Losing an elite playmaker like Alexei. Played 4 games with David Wilkie, the Lancers head coach, and his twin brother Jesper Peltonen had a goal in those 4 games. Like Coach Flynn said in the Flynn interview earlier, he's very excited to be back. Arnofskis, we get a whistle. I think a hand pass is being called against Shreveport. Before they could get that 3-on-2 in full swing, the referee has snuffed it out. 3:47 to play in the first, no score. Thanks for joining us, folks, on the IceRays Broadcast Network. If you're tuned in somewhere near the Corpus Christi area in the Coastal Bend, be sure to come on out tomorrow night. The IceRays will be closing out this series. Same time, same place, the American Bank Center at 7:05 p.m. Central Time. For tickets, you can call the IceRays office at 361-814-PUCK or visit our website, goicerays.com/tickets. And Offside was brought to you by Ad Alliance. We'll try this again. Drop the puck, and Jacob Skolnick takes over after the draw. Fairmouth had it escape his reach, but Fewell will follow up for him. And wobbles one into the middle, low hash marks, and it's a turnaround shot that gets blocked, but a slashing penalty is going to be called against Corpus Christi. And Shreveport's power play, it looks like, will get an opportunity to break the ice. Perhaps it was Procopio who was guilty of slashing, or Fewell. It looked like the call was going to be against the IceRays. But Fewell is being escorted right now to the sin bin. So the Rays will get a second chance on the power play. Definitely struggled in its first go about it. We'll see if they can improve things here on their second try. They're not going with their number 1 unit. Garrett Halford and Julian Mackery, Connor Yanni, and Blake Coffey are starting things out this time, along with Angus Scott. Jake Acton will wheel one around the left half wall. Here comes Julian Mackery in his IceRays debut. Down the left half wall, stops and flings it over to Yanni, who's in and shoots, hit the side of the net. And Connor Yanni came that close to scoring his first goal as an IceRay. Wouldn't that have been something to have it assisted by somebody in his first game? Mackery's got it now. Or excuse me, Scott, who will dish it to Mackery. Up to the top for Coffey. Mackery again left circle to Scott at the goal line, tries to stuff it in. It's stopped and sent out past Coffey just barely. Failed to keep it in the zone. He will retreat back into his own end and play it. 2:40 to go in the first period. About $1:10 to go on this AEP Texas power play. It's already generated more opportunities to score than the first one did. Here comes Riley St. Ange motoring in down his off wing. Dropped it to Larry Youngworth, who swivels around Spencer. St. Ange across for Peltonen, whose shot was blocked, and it's kept in the zone for the time being. Acioli returns it to Peltonen in the right circle. St. Ange with it in between Miller's skates, kept alive just barely by Youngworth. Fed over to St. Ange, tapped back to Acioli. Long screen shot, tip, save, rebound, and Miller put it off the side of the goal. As it's flung out to the right half wall, St. Ange up to Acioli. Stutter step, St. Ange gets it back. Again in the right circle, it's Peltonen with it. Acioli, long screen shot, tip, save. Rebound loose down there somewhere, and a quick whistle has nullified that. Looked like Tyler Brumfield just lost sight of the puck, as it certainly was alive, and it was loose. Durham had no clue where it was. So 21 seconds remaining for slashing. We're going to go to a very abbreviated 4-on-4, just 14 seconds long. And after which Shreveport will get its first chance on the power play. So the face-off will be to Jacob Acton's left. And Cam Cook will step in against CJ Regula, who had a 3-assist game back on December 16th against the Jackalopes. Miller, who leads the IceRays in shorthanded goals, pursues it, but Geisber's caught up to it first. Minute and a half to go in the first period, still no score. And now Jay Fewell is let out of the box as he storms over to the Shreveport bench. Georgi Fedulov is his replacement. And here come the Mudbugs. Cam Cook on the left wing, deposits it into the IceRays zone. Georgi Fedulov stops the puck's progress and shovels it back to Brendan Geisbers. Slapped along for Procopio, back to Geisbers, now to Fedulov at the top of the right circle in the IceRays zone. Down to Cam Cook. 3-year NAHL veteran to Fedulov. Georgi Fedulov surveying, finds Procopio pretty open, takes a long shot, pad save, rebound, score. Georgi Fedulov off that big rebound conceded off of Jacob Acton's left pad from the right circle. Fedulov able to pop one into the open net. His third goal of the season has snapped the IceRays penalty kill streak. It killed off 25 straight until that goal scored by Fedulov, and Shreveport has just scored a power play goal to break the ice and draw first blood. It's 1-0. Noah Roof with a clean win in the draw, and now Trevor Wilhelm on the right side feeds it up the middle, went past Noah Roof's stick all the way down. James Durham has possession. Tries to sling one off the glass, hoping to clear it. Couldn't do it. Havrila kept it, but not for long. Wells got control of it. Now it's Andrew Lane starting up the left side with it. He just lobs one into a vacant area. Rosenberg is checked from behind by Fairmouth, slapped up the wall, kept in the zone by Lane, who misfired. Fairmouth is checked by Rosenberg, who's then flattened by Brendan Van Sweden. A penalty is going to be called against the latter of the two, as Lane takes a shove by Bud Winter, a retaliatory hit by Fewell. Not once, but twice, and the linesman just jumps in the way of that, preventing it from escalating any further. This period's over. There's just a 1.8 seconds, the official amount of time remaining on the clock. Not enough time to get anything set up. But the IceRays will go to a power play at the start of period 2. And Brendan Van Sweden might have actually been given additional discipline. I don't think it's a 2-minute minor against Van Sweden. It was definitely a blindsided hit, and he just laid out Ryan Rosenberg, who's playing in his first game as an IceRay tonight. Did not see him. He had just delivered a pretty clean hit on his counterpart and then was flattened and blindsided from behind by Brendan Van Sweden. So the first period now in the books. The opening 20 minutes are over, and Shreveport has a 1-0 advantage, though there was an IceRays goal that was waved off. There were a couple of opportunities for Rosenberg, who's greatly impressed in his first period ever as an IceRay. First period in the NAHL, I should add. And not only that, but when we return, the IceRays will be back on the AEP Texas power play for the third time tonight. Will the third time be the charm? We'll just have to wait and see. Shreveport clicked on its one and only chance on the man advantage, thereby ending the longest penalty killing streak in the NAHL at 25 straight. So it had a good run, but unfortunately, as soon as the break ended and reality returned, the IceRays penalty killing streak ended as well. But there are more important things on the line here tonight. Just a few points are all that separate the IceRays from the third place Odessa Jackalopes, who again are not playing tonight. Corpus Christi is going to want to do all in its power to close that gap and take that Odessa's night off, use that to their advantage, and continue to gain some ground on them in the South Division. So we're going to take a few minutes here and take a pause on the IceRays broadcast network. Again, thank you very much for joining us, folks, on HockeyTV.com and on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday night. When we come back, we'll take a brief look around the NAHL and break down that first period for you in greater detail. That and more coming your way shortly. Stay with us, folks.
Local retail bakery that has been in business for 25 years. They provide customers with moist, delicious cakes for all occasions,
Window Genie is the home service leader in South Texas at home or at the office with affordable prices. Want more than just your windows cleaned? Check out the Window Genie Big 3 offering window cleaning as well as window tinting and pressure washing. Window Genie is also your year-round solution for cleaning those pesky gutters. Call for an estimate at 361-792-3554. That's 361-792-3554. And let the power of the Genie work for you. The Thrifty Nickel is home of the Guaranteed to Sell classified ads, covering all Corpus Christi communities within a 75-mile radius. Place your personal classified with us, and if it hasn't sold in 4 weeks, we'll run it for free until it sells. Visit us in the Gulfway Shopping Center or give us a call at 361-980-0008 or online at cc.thriftynickel.com. Thrifty Nickel, where you get nationwide coverage with hometown service.
Are you looking to lose weight, get fit, or just improve your overall fitness? Then train with a professional at Sports Fitness Solutions. Former IceRays player and current team strength and conditioning coach Jeff Pelucio can help you reach your goals with a specific program built just for you. Choose from one-on-one or group training sessions. Sports Fitness Solutions can help you lose weight, increase energy, build muscle, and get you feeling better today. Call Jeff with Sports Fitness Solutions today at 774-0874. That's 774-0874. And train like the IceRays do.
Follow along with your favorite IceRays wherever you go by linking up to the IceRays social media arsenal. There are more ways to follow the action than ever before, with pictures, news, videos, and exclusive content, including interviews and giveaways. Give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Corpus Christi IceRays, and on Twitter, Vine, Periscope, and now Snapchat at Go IceRays. The IceRays social media arsenal, the ultimate coverage of IceRays hockey.
Experience the luxury of bayfront living at Sendera Bay Point. Located on Enos Jocelyn Road, Sendera Bay Point is newly renovated with upgraded units featuring granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, and designer lighting. Enjoy an on-site masseuse, waterfront yoga classes, water aerobics, fitness boot camps, poolside towel service, Saturday morning homemade resident breakfast, and of course, stunning bay views. Visit SenderaBayPoint.com for more details. Mention this ad for a waived application fee. That's SenderaBayPoint.com. Offer its residents a prime location that leaves you minutes away from shopping, entertainment, restaurants, and beaches. Residents will discover a life of splendor with 2 pools, a workout facility, outdoor grilling needs, along with comfortable apartments located just minutes from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Island Villa Apartments are located off SBID and Nile Drive. Call Island Villa Apartments today at 994-1630 and set up your personal tour. 994-1630. Island Villa Apartments.
Even say we're rap-alicious. Gulf Coast Graphics. Or 0213.
With cell phones?
We're unable to take your call at the moment. Please leave your name, number, and a brief
When time is money and the message is urgent, you need two-way radio.
Unit 5, return to yard immediately.
Safe, reliable, distracted, driver-legal two-way radio from A&B Communications with built-in fleet tracking.
14 and 22
Units, vehicle-mounted base stations, fleet tracking, on-site or wide-area communications for business. Online at abcom.net. That's abcomm.net. When you need to
talk business.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Appreciate your patience. It's a 1-0 game here at the ABC. Shreveport did tally first. Georgi Fedulov flicking at the 19:11 mark with just 49 seconds remaining in the period. He scored a power play goal to put the Mudbugs on the board to give them a 1-0 advantage, even though it was probably Corpus Christi who had the better period. Shreveport does have the lead at the time, or at the moment. The IceRays will have a chance to respond with a man advantage of their own, and just about all of it, just 1 second having expired from it. So when we come back for the second period, they will have a very timely opportunity to level the score. In the meantime, let's take a look at our only other game out of town tonight. Minnesota in Janesville. The Magicians taking on the Jets in Janesville, Wisconsin this evening. It's a 1-0 lead for the Magicians right now. And that game started at roughly the same time. It's about on the same pace as well. Kyler Grundy scoring the lone goal just 42 seconds in for the visitors. Silence the house at the Janesville Ice Arena on Beloit Avenue. Again, the South Division is quiet tonight, but tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, it will be fairly active. Though Lone Star and Topeka will also be off. They've got a bit of an extended holiday break. Matter of fact, Topeka actually returns a little bit earlier. Lone Star will have this weekend off completely. They won't play any, which not only gives the IceRays a good opportunity, but everybody who's trying to catch them and catching up to them seems to be a more realistic goal now than it has been in weeks prior. They've slipped a little bit. They had that 10-game homestand, which they were expecting to be able to use that to their advantage and gain some ground. Instead, they actually lost it. It was an underwhelming home stretch for them, to say the least, especially given the expectations surrounding them. But the IceRays aren't really concerning themselves with all that. They just want to catch up to them as quickly as possible. But Amarillo and Odessa will be squaring off from Friday until Sunday, which oddly enough, both the second two of those games will be on off days for the IceRays, which is something they haven't really had a whole heck of a lot of. Thursday, Friday games, it's the only time we're having a series like this all year. But timing of it all might seem a little bit strange. Coming back after a pretty extensive break, only to get a weekend off right after that. Players are not really accustomed to getting to do that. And while they do that, they might keep a close eye on the two teams right now that are straddling them for positioning in the South. Odessa 4 points ahead of them, Amarillo 3 points behind them. break down this game for you in a little bit greater detail as promised. The total shots after that first period, 25, 14 of which came from IceRays sticks. They had 2 power plays and will start their third right when the second period commences. A few players who stood out. Matt Acioli, as usual, with some good screenshots from the top of the umbrella. Blake Coffey as well. Really, the defenseman looked pretty good for the IceRays. Looked active and did not appear to be afraid to jump in and take some risks to try and generate some attack. Blake Coffey did so. Matt Acioli and Ryan Rosenberg, who's playing in his first game tonight, probably had the best chance out of anyone for the IceRays outside of probably Larry Youngworth, who believes he did score when it was waved off. And then it was the very next face-off in which Rosenberg had a chance to redeem Youngworth for that, well, depending on who you ask, a blown call. He couldn't do it. His second shot was blocked by his own teammate, Alexei Peltonen. Shreveport catches a break there. The game remains tied, and a few minutes later, Georgi Fedulov scores his third goal of the season, assisted by Dominic Procopio and Cameron Cook. Goal coming at 19:11 on Shreveport's first and only power play up till this point, off a slashing call made against Larry Youngworth. So, without question, a frustrating first period for Youngworth, who had a goal waved off and was in the penalty box when Shreveport scored. He'll be a player worth watching in period 2 and 3, among others. That and more coming your way next. In the meantime, we've still got about 5.5 minutes or so at the ABC before second period puck drop is brought your way. Till then, don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back.
partake in all the fun and festivities that take place after tonight's game with the post-game skate. Go to the team store and check out all the merchandise. I see ice skaters coming off the ice. That must be one thing and one thing only. IceRays fans, help us out. Bring out your IceRays!
The story of both these sides of late has been strong goaltending. Both teams almost equal in that department when squaring off against one another, though Shreveport has had the slight edge. The Rays have not scored a goal against the Mudbugs since December 3rd. Since then, they've played against them 3 times, including tonight. We're shut out by them on December 13th, that midweek game right before the Rays headed out to Odessa. And James Durham was the one who did the honors. On December 3rd, they managed 1 goal against him, and it came on a long screenshot taken by Matt Acioli. It eventually was deflected by Jason DeMizio on an IceRays power play. Is that foreshadowing? The IceRays have an early power play here to begin the second period. It looked like somebody jumped the gun there, so the linesman's going to redo this face-off. Again, tonight's referee, Tyler Brumfield, the linesmen Connor Bull and Chase Wilkinson. Bull will drop the puck eventually. Fader and Procopio in a bit of a disagreement as to who's to stand where. Finally, Brumfield gives him the thumbs up. There might be I think there's an error on the clock is the reason for this long pause. It was only 1 second, so they decide to play on. Riley St. Ange on the left side, gains the Shreveport zone, slams on the brakes and drops it to Brendan Miller. Procopio scooting in, hoping to clear it past St. Ange, gets some help from Fader, pops up in the air, and St. Ange gloves it down, is knocked off balance. Here comes Geisber's right circle, shoots, missed the short side post just barely. Procopio, long shot that missed the left post. And now it's Miller guiding it on back, and Acioli will take a look. Half minute into the second period of IceRays hockey, which is brought to you by First Title Company. Minute 22 to go on this AEP Texas power play. Peltonen over the blue line for Youngworth. He causes Quisenberry to fall, but then loses the puck in the process. Fewell sent it up to Quisenberry on the left side, who will shovel it on net, and it's sticked aside by Jacob Acton. Acton went 10 for 11 in net. 25 first period shots, only 1 goal. On the other end, Durham a perfect 14 of 14. So one of those might have gone uncalled by the referee, depending on who you ask. Youngworth believed that he had scored, as did a few of his teammates, it appeared. Coffey will walk the line. Here's Mackery, slapping it down to Youngworth. Up to Coffey again. From straight away, gets the return and one-times it, deflects just wide of the left post by a few inches. And Youngworth, surrounded, manages to work the puck free. Mackery sent it on net, it deflects. Angus Scott jumping in to try to keep it in the attacking zone, can't do it. Right back the other way, they bring it. Alex Spencer on the right side. Dekes his way around Blake Coffey and takes it all the way into the other corner. Eventually he loses the puck and runs out of room. But that has just about done it for the IceRays power play, which is about to drop to 0 for 3 on the night. And Halford will feed it back to Connor Yanni. Coffey with a skate-to-stick reception in his own zone. Pressured by Georgi Fedulov, the lone goal scorer of tonight's game. Yanni kicks it back up to his stick again and starts the breakout for Corpus Christi. Feeds it up the middle. Here comes Garrett Halford, who's got all kinds of speed. Coffey just missed the short side post with a wrist shot on the left wing. Angus Scott will jimmy it down, and the return pass intended for Haverla just missed his outstretched stick. Haverla gets the pass now from Coffey and turns. Tries to feed it down. Picked off before it got to Angus Scott. Nikolai Jensen. He bails it up to Kieran Durgan. Tri-City Storm turn the puck over to Noah Roof while falling, gets the pass off. Haverla fakes the slap shot, fires it on net from a tough angle. Somehow Durham keeps that out. It was in the blue paint in the crease, and it looked like Noah Roof was sort of lurking there in the back door. And it was tough to tell whether Roof's stick was in the air because he was celebrating or because that was just the position he happened to be in when he got all tangled up down there. And I think it was the latter because nobody's pleading for any sort of review. Now it's Roof, Winter, Haverla for this offensive zone draw to James Durham's right. Won by the Mudbugs, sent off the half wall of the glass, intercepted nicely by Rosenberg, who starts it back into the offensive zone, gets rid of it, shot from the right circle, stopped by Durham, and no rebound as Noah Roof was denied. And James Durham, who was perfectly square to that shot. He just does not give up too many second chances. I think low shots are going to be essential against this goaltender. That's how Shreveport scored its first and only goal up till this point. It's just a routine left point shot, nothing fancy about it. Dominic Procopio just got it on net on a Mudbugs power play. Forced Acton to kick out the pad and make a big save, and a huge rebound came from it. That's what the IceRays might want to start looking to do, because Durham has just been so solid, not only start to finish in this game, but lately, folks, he's probably been the hottest goaltender in the NAHL. And beating him cleanly on a pretty play is just not very likely to happen. Face-off win. DeMizio had his shot blocked by Fader's skate. Yanni signals for the puck having been sent directly out of play. That is the case. Shreveport will be allowed to change personnel. About 3 1/4 into the second period. Shreveport has a 1-0 lead. Georgi Fedulov with his third goal of the season to put them in that position. The IceRays still out shooting Shreveport by a 16-12 margin. CJ Regula versus Zach Fairmouth in the draw. Won by Regula, but right after the draw was won by him. Robert Sparnowskis stormed out of his own zone. Lane beat Regula to the puck. And Connor Yanni will send one up the near side boards. Here's Brendan Van Sweden. Up to Zach Fairmouth, loses possession. Shreveport, I thought was on a delayed offside. Not the case, and it nearly cost the IceRays because there's a dangerous turnover just a few feet away from Jake Acton. And now Kalen Taylor will feed it up past Jason Demizio. Did he get his stick on? This is the question. He did, so no icing. Andrew Lane is met by CJ Regula. Now it's flung back from Scott to Coffey. Fakes a slap shot, takes a wrist shot, fought off. Nice save by Durham. And now it's Fairmouth hoping to clear. Got it up to Baranovskis as it pops over Regula and out to the neutral zone. Andrew Lane is met by Julian Mackery. Brendan Miller turns and feeds Coffey. Hammers it on net. Save, and the rebound sent just wide by Brendan Miller. Van Sweden has just iced the puck. Shreveport changed up personnel regardless, and the linesman is going to have to sort this mess out on the Mudbugs bench and make sure that anyone who hopped onto the ice illegally will have to skate back and be replaced by whomever was out there when that puck was iced. That icing is brought to you by Hard Knocks Bar and Grill. My goodness, Blake Coffey with 2 or 3 excellent slap shots from the blue line. Well, actually, the first one was a wrist shot. It was a fake slap shot, and then he took it wide into the right circle and released it. But James Durham managed to do some good leather flashing to deny the opportunity. Mackery getting on it. He is upended there by, looked like Jensen. Got away with it. Demizio with a retaliatory check, though I think he got the wrong man. He had Van Sweden instead of Jensen, who has it now. Up to Van Sweden. He is back in the game after that dangerous blindsided hit he delivered on Ryan Rosenberg. Blake Coffey motors in behind his own net and collects the puck. Sends it up to Larry Youngworth, who was the NAHL November Forward of the Month. 12 goals throughout the month of November for Larry Youngworth. Here comes Jake Transit. Slips it through. Big rebound given up by Acton. He was able to scurry over and take away the daylight on the near side. Transit Cook scrapping away for it. Halford able to advance it over to Youngworth's corner. He's pinned to the wall by Jack Yannick. He jimmied it free and sent it back over the stick of Procopio. It bounces. And the Mudbugs captain will reset in his own end. His clearing attempt went off of the linesman. And the IceRays catch a break because of that. Durham, in the meantime, will try to clear. Can't do it. Courtesy of Larry Youngworth, who got himself in the way. Acioli pinches. 4 players jab away, equally divided, but eventually Jensen comes up with it, and Shreveport has cleared. Cook looking for the lead pass. It bounces towards Yannick. He was just outraced barely by Matt Acioli. Yannick loses his stick. Felton into Youngworth. More subtle interference by the linesman, whether it's accidental or not. It's happened a couple times in a row now, and now here comes Fader on his off wing with a shot. Saved by Acton, looking for the rebound. It's cleared for the time being. Slapped towards the net. That was a bit of a knuckleball that Blake Coffey was able to easily get himself in the way of and block. And Geisber is trying to scurry to catch the IceRays in the midst of their line change, but Winter prevented that from happening. Trevor Wilhelm's got to turn back and go get it. Trevor Wilhelm, who's been the IceRays overtime hero more often than anyone else this season. 2 overtime game-winning goals of the IceRays 3. As Haverla tapping his stick, calling for a pass from Wilhelm, who instead decides to just flip it high in the air and out to center ice. Jacob Skolnick backpedaling will feed one ahead for Georgi Fedulov. Roberts Baranovskis protecting the puck, driving it in behind the net and slipping it on back to Andrew Lane. DDD pass to Skolnick, who misfired. Looked like Haverla got his stick in that shooting lane. Kieran Durgan reverses it to Fedulov. Georgi Fedulov tapped it back to Lane with a one-timer that's punched aside routinely by Jacob Acton. Durgan goes in after it. Matt Acioli's exhausted. He can barely skate and keep up with his fellow Michigan native. Haverla pries it off of Jacob Skolnick. Roof's got to turn back and feed it back now for Trevor Wilhelm. The St. Louis-born defenseman gets it up to his fellow St. Louis native, Bud Winter. Puck in the attacking zone for the time being, forcing Shreveport to turn. Jason DeMizio comes up with it. Rattles it to Angus Scott, who pivots with it. Scott searching, back to the line. Taylor with a one-timer, gets blocked. A lot of purple jerseys blocking that route to the net. Taylor with an excellent keep at the blue line with his skate. Now it's Scott being knocked off balance. Fans wanting a penalty. None forthcoming. Regula, in the meantime, swivels his way around a pair of Mudbugs, loses it ultimately to Andrew Lane. Kalen Taylor gets it down to Scott. Excellent surge by the IceRays. One-time blast by DeMizio gets blocked. And the puck just skittered over his blade. He couldn't keep it at the line. Shreveport scrambles to make a fire wagon line change, only 2/5 of one. They still have 3 players out there who need to get off, who are exhausted. Unfortunately, they have just drawn a penalty. Jay Fewell was hooked from behind, and the IceRays will go back to the box.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the video board for tonight's Kids Cam. You never know when you might.
We're going to take a 30-second break on the IceRays Broadcast Network. Please enjoy the Kiss Cam on HockeyTV.com. We'll be right back. Shreveport's Latvian-born goaltender Gustavs Grigal's having some fun with the Vela Dental Center's Kiss Cam, being a good sport about it. CJ Regula actually made his mark on one of those last year. Before he was playing for the IceRays, he was with an opposing team and almost sort of became a fan favorite because of that. And lo and behold, now he's playing for them. Shreveport hoping to tack on another power play goal and extend their lead. Andrew Lane will feed Ryan Burnett at the top of the right circle. Lane gets it back. Barnofskis with a shot. Butterfly save. Puck's been hacked out to the blue line again. It's Lane keeping it in the zone. Barnofskis, Van Sweden, he was tied up by Brendan Miller. Puck flutters behind the IceRays goal. Kieran Durgan hoping to come away with it. Loses it to Matt Acioli. Here comes Brendan Miller, ever dangerous, especially shorthanded, but Shreveport was able to get back. Burnett, the speedster, gallops across the blue line on the left wing with Kieran Durgan in close proximity. Decides to shovel one around to the far half wall. It's Cam Cook tapping it back to Burnett, right half boards. Into the deep slot, Andrew Lane straight away. Dishes it off, Barnofskis slapped over to Burnett. Too hot to handle for him. He gets back on it, loses it to Wilhelm, who played it hotly off the stick of a friendly player, CJ Regula. I think had he known it was a teammate, he wouldn't have passed it with so much force. Made it impossible for Regula to do anything with it. Fedulov loses an edge and hits the deck. He gets right back onto his skates. Equally divided six-man scrum taking place. Finally, the IceRays move it, and here comes Garrett Halford. Sending it off the boards right in front of his own bench and down. Geisbers is harassed by Halford, who goes down. Here comes Cam Cook with 23 seconds remaining on the Shreveport power play. Cook back to Geisbers, over to Procopio with a long shot. He was hoping for the stick of Fedulov, just missed it. Cook with time winding down on the power play, a dozen seconds. Fedulov wheels behind the net. Looks for an option, finds one, it's Cook, right circle. Cam Cook will shoot, blocked, and it's collected by Coffey, who will slam it off the boards and out. That IceRays penalty kill was brought to you by Republic Services. They've improved to 1 for 2 on the night. As Acton has to recover and bail his teammates out a little bit with that huge turnaround save, and now it's brought back the other direction by Angus Scott, who waits for the tail gunner. It's Blake Coffey. Slapped on net, big blocker save. The rebound comes right out into the slot, and Van Sweden springs one ahead for Jay Fewell. On his off wing, holds on. The trailer there was Skolnick. Youngworth intercepted it before it got to him. Lane defending Youngworth on the other side, and the shot is on from a tough angle. Durham able to make the stop relatively easily. 8:37 to go in the second period. It's a 1-0 Mudbugs lead. We're going to take another 30-second timeout here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. We'll be right back.
Looking to lose weight, get fit, or just improve your overall fitness? Then train with a professional at Sports Fitness Solutions. Former IceRays player and current team strength and conditioning coach Jeff Pelucio can help you reach your goals with a specific program built just for you. Choose from one-on-one or group training sessions. Sports Fitness Solutions can help you lose weight, increase energy, build muscle, and get you feeling better today. Call Jeff with Sports Fitness Solutions today at 774-0874. That's 774-0874. And train like the IceRays do.
The IceRays hoping to convert that momentum after having just killed off their first penalty of the night successfully. Now 1 for 2, hoping to convert that into some momentum perhaps, and maybe get some opportunities to level the score because of it. Cameron Cook will try to prevent that from happening. He's been an IceRays killer this season. He will feed Procopio at the right point with a long shot that's tipped on net. Acton with a pad save. Youngworth with a Hail Mary pass. It works out right on the tape for St. Ange. Nice pass for Peltonen. Turnaround shot save. St. Ange has scored, and the game's all tied up. This all started because of Larry Youngworth's pass. You're not going to see it here, but St. Ange fed one into the middle for Peltonen, and St. Ange was there to finish it off. Excellent job cleaning up the mess. And they teach you at all levels. If you're going to charge into the offensive zone with lots of speed, don't fly right past the net. Don't do a flyby, as Eddie Olczyk loves to say. Slam on the brakes, stop, look for some garbage, look for a loose puck and some loose change. And Riley St. Ange did just that, and because of it, this game's all tied up. 1-1 your score with 7:40 to play in period 2. Georgi Fedulov, Riley St. Ange, your goal scorers. Coffey wheels back deep in his own zone. You're able to flip it up to Mattis Haverla. Nice pass right on the tape for Bud Winter. Winter trying to dipsy-doodle his way through Nikolai Jensen, who knocked him off the puck for the time being. He gets right back on it, though. Now behind the net, jostling for it with help from Noah Roof. That pops free into the slot. It's carried out of harm's way by Ryan Burnett, fed up towards Quisenberry. Just outside of his reach, he recorrals it. Now it's Barnofskas shooting. Getting just a piece of his blocker on it was Jacob Acton. Easy interception there for Connor Yanni, who turns and feeds it up to Brendan Miller. Shoveled out of the zone and out to center again. Here comes Barnofskas, just ripping one wide of the right post. Fedulov scooping it up in the neutral zone. He stopped on a dime, stopped so quickly it caused Garrett Halford to lose an edge, which does not happen very often. Halford, an excellent skater. Another pretty smooth skating fellow. Kalen Taylor will feed it up to Halford now on the right side. He pops it on net, and it's easily stopped by James Durham. Strong goaltending performance by both netminders tonight. Jacob Acton's quietly strung together one heck of a game so far. 17 of 18 in net, the IceRays goaltender. At the other end, James Durham, 19 of 20. Halford won the draw, but Rosenberg was in too tight there. He was in pretty close quarters on that face-off. So it flew right past him. Mackery shuffleboards it back into the Shreveport zone. Geisberg's getting the DDD from Spencer. Van Sweden lost it to Brendan Miller. Mackery harassing him. Now here comes Fairmouth. He's beaten to it by Wilhelm. And Wilhelm throws it off of Garrett Halford's blade, deflected on net, so no icing. And then Halford blocks the clearing attempt by Geisbergs. Demizio will fire from a near impossible angle. It went off the chest of Durham. Demizio back on it. Coffey tried to slap it on net, but it was blocked. Acioli's shot from the left corner, knocked away by the stick of Zach Fairmouth, who threw himself in front of that shot. Jay Fewell sandwiched between both Scott and Demizio. A lot of size surrounding him. Acioli left side. Tried to center one. It deflected behind the net and around the board. Scott up to Coffey, right point. Blake Coffey to Matt Acioli. Back to Coffey. Hangs on. Likes to pull the trigger, but decides to pass it this time. Went off the stick of CJ Regula. It's worked for behind the net. Pops out in front. Regula's first to it. He switches places with Acioli. Feeds Coffey. Hammers a shot. Saved. And that was a bit of a change-up. It changed speed and direction. Durham still able to make the save. Another Coffey shot, and Durham throws his blocker out at CJ Regula, who was screening him. And really, for the first time tonight, we've got a bit of a Donnybrook on our hands following a save and following a whistle. Probably going to be seeing at least some disciplinary action handed out for all this. Really, the only issue I had with that was James Durham, seemingly unprovoked, just throwing his blocker out right into the CJ Regula's midsection. He was frustrated. He thought he was interfered with. CJ Regula has every right to place himself in that spot to try to screen him. And he was too close for Durham's liking. And sort of just out of frustration, it looked like, just flung out his blocker. And tell you what, folks, that doesn't feel too good. So while we get this mess sorted out here at the ABC, we're going to take a short break on the IceRays Broadcast Network. We'll be back in a moment, folks. Keep it right here. So a quarter of the second period remains, 5 minutes, just under it, 4:56 to be exact. The IceRays with a trio of unanswered shots on goal. James Durham able to stop all of them. And Brendan, you're seeing on your screen right now, Tyler Brumfield, the referee, still discussing the call with Brendan Miller, Dominic Procopio, the IceRays and Mudbugs captains respectively. See Miller's sort of, there's something about Brumfield's decision that he just does not agree with. You can tell based on his body language and the grin on his face. We know that Angus Scott at least is in the box. This might be oh my, is this going to be a Mudbugs power play? Seeing the IceRays head coach, Brad Flynn, quick to discuss the decision. Again, it's my understanding that that was all caused because of an unwarranted, for the most part, unprovoked punch from James Durham with his blocker. It was either into Angus Scott's or CJ Regula's midsection. Which, of course, led to some retaliation, which led to that little scuffle. And will the Mudbugs be going to the power play here is the question. Nobody's quite sure. Right now they're, okay, so Van Sweden joins them, so this is a Shreveport power play. I don't understand how. Brad Flynn is not happy, folks. Wanted to get one last word in with Tyler Brumfield before he skates back into the IceRays zone where this faceoff will take place. It's going to be to Jacob Acton's right. Bud Winter also skating over right now. So if Winter is joining Angus Scott, then somebody from Shreveport's bench has to skate over to their penalty box, unless it's a 5-on-3, which it clearly is not. They need to figure this out. This puck cannot drop. Shreveport has to get someone in the penalty box immediately. Winter skated over for the IceRays, which tells me that there was a 4-minute double minor assessed somewhere, most likely against Angus Scott. And normally when that's the case, there's a 2-minute minor handed out to whoever he instigated it against. Nobody serving any penalty time for Shreveport. Burnett fires right off the draw, and he missed the left post with the shot. Barnovskis down to Kieran Durgan. Durgan in the slot for Van Sweden, loses it, and it's tapped out of there by Connor Yanni. That's a play that Connor Yanni at this stage of his career can make in his sleep. He's the most defensively sound defenseman the IceRays have. Barnovskis to Burnett to Van Sweden. Shoots, stopped, rebound there for Burnett, but he missed the net with the shot. Now it's Acioli. So a penalty was called against Shreveport's goaltender James Durham for roughing, but nobody's serving it for him. I can't believe they're letting the Mudbugs get away with that. Barnovskis just wires one over the elbow of the net short side. Meanwhile, it's Lane, right point. The point-to-point pass intended for Barnovskis just outside of his reach. He couldn't keep it in the zone because of it. As Lane backpedals now on his own end. Feeds it up the right side between the player benches. Fewell, Fedulov, Miller, and Halford in scrapping forward at the moment. And IceRays eventually managed to get it deep into the Shreveport zone. 44 seconds remaining on this mystery of a Mudbugs power play. Their third of the game. They're 1 for 2 on the night thus far. This IceRays penalty kill is brought to you by Republic Services. Geisbers gains the zone. Dropped it for Fedulov, who turns away. Kalen Taylor able to slap it past his own blue line. Geisbers gave it away to Halford, who starts it right down the middle of the ice. On the right side, going wide and shooting, goes through the blue paint and wide. DeMizio back to Taylor. The IceRays will play a little keep away as the majority of this penalty has now been killed off. Just a dozen seconds remaining on it. 3 minutes remain here in the second period. This game all tied up at 1, courtesy of a Riley St. Ange turnaround shot on the IceRays' lone goal up till this point that stood. DeMizio cleared it, and that's done it. The Rays 2 for 3 on the Republic Services penalty kill tonight, though they just iced the puck because they were back to full strength when that puck had been cleared the length of the ice. That icing is brought to you by Hard Knocks Bar and Grill. The faceoff will stay in the Corpus Christi zone, and a few of the players who were out there for a good chunk of that penalty kill, who would like nothing more than to get a breather right now, are going to have to stay out there. So this is a critical faceoff for the IceRays. Of course, big thank you to our friends over at Flint Hills Resources, saluting our military, our active and retired military, as well as our first responders. We can't thank you enough for all that you do for our country and for the Corpus Christi area. Jack Yonick wobbles one down to Jake Transit. The return up the boards for Andrew Lane with a long attempt. Follow-up shot by Quisenberry goes over the crossbar and misses the net. They battle for it now in the far corner. Kalen Taylor trying to move it. He advances it as far as Jason DeMizio, who will gain the red line and fire it into the Shreveport zone. Corpus Christi getting the majority of a much-needed line change underway and completed. Riley St. Ange redirects that Blake Coffey clearing attempt into Mudbugs territory. Andrew Lane will spin it back to Quisenberry, who's pestered by Peltonen, stealing it. Coffey right point, back to Peltonen, flung into the middle. Acioli had good body positioning, but he couldn't get a shot off. Peltonen sending it down towards Youngworth behind the Mudbugs net. Youngworth jimmies it along, Transit there first, bounces to Coffey. Coffey sends it back behind the net. Youngworth is there. Youngworth wheeling up to the deep slot is tripped. Can't keep the puck in the zone. If the fans want a tripping penalty, none will come. Blake Coffey in the meantime, with a minute and a half remaining in period 2. Score tied up at 1 goal apiece. Georgi Fedulov, Riley St. Ange, your goal scorers for Shreveport and Corpus Christi respectively in that order. Matt Acioli misfired on the pass to Larry Youngworth. He intended to deflect it off of his stick, which is a very common zone entrance the IceRays like to do, unfortunately just misconnecting. So icing is the result. An icing call, again, is brought to you by Hard Knocks Bar and Grill, and the IceRays will be tasked with taking a defensive zone faceoff. Somebody jumped the gun on that draw. So now with Matt Novo serving his 1-game suspension, there are only 3 IceRays left who have played in every single game this season. Connor Yanni is one of them, Garrett Halford another, and Trevor Wilhelm the third. They're all veterans. They've been here. This is at least their second season for all 3 of them. It's, make no mistake, folks, that's not a coincidence. There's going to be a penalty called against Riley St. Ange. He's not happy with that decision. Slashing, he knocked the stick, it looked like out of Jay Fewell's hand, or excuse me, out of Brendan Van Sweden's hands. The problem with those calls, folks, when a stick gets knocked out of a player's hands, it almost always looks worse than it is because it could just be a matter of him not holding it with a very firm grip. And when that's the case, all it takes is a little love tap to dislodge it. And it looked like that's all it was. And again, the IceRays find themselves on the penalty kill here for the third time in this period. They've convincingly killed off their last 2 in a row. And coming into this game, they had killed off 25 in a row before Georgi Fedulov snapped that streak. Wilhelm slams it off the glass and down. 50 seconds remain in this second period. It's been a good second period for the IceRays, who have outshot the Mudbugs in the middle frame and have also had a goal to show for it to tie things up. The man who scored that goal currently in the penalty box for the IceRays, Riley St. Ange. Called 2 minutes for slashing. In the meantime, Shreveport is called on an Ad-Liance offside whistle. Riley St. Ange really coming into his own. Definitely struggled a little bit when he first came on board with a change of leagues from the Ontario Junior Hockey League, where he's played his last 3 years in Canadian junior hockey, coming down to Corpus Christi and playing in the NAHL South. Certainly very different styles, different leagues. There was an adjustment period for him. And ever since he's gotten rolling, he has been virtually unstoppable for opposing defenses. St. Ange, second on the IceRays in points now, behind only Larry Youngworth, with 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 overall points on the season. Native of St. Catharines, Ontario. There's an attempt backdoor. Burnett was the intended target, and it went between his skate and his stick. Yanni turning and firing it out to the neutral zone. Andrew Lane gloving it down, hoping to regenerate an attack quickly here before the period expires. That's a clear offside, and the whistle blows. The right call made by the linesman Chase Wilkinson. Native of the Houston, Texas area. He's from right around here. Not a whole lot of these officials can say that. There's only a single Texan on the IceRays' entire roster, Garrett Halford from McKinney, the suburban Dallas area. That's done it for period 2. Jacob Acton makes a 100-foot save and then throws the puck into the corner, signifying the end of the first 40 minutes. 1-1 now your score. No complaints here from the folks at the American Bank Center after that last 20-minute stanza. The IceRays not only kept Jacob Acton, who you just saw now, not only kept the Mudbugs at bay, but the IceRays also leveled the score. Riley St. Ange with his 7th goal of the season, assisted by his customary line mates, Larry Youngworth and Alexi Pelton, and I'm sure the 3 of them are beyond thrilled to be reunited for the first time in nearly a month. Remember, folks, Peltonen's last game before heading up to Omaha to play 4 games up there for the Lancers was against the Mudbugs back on December 3rd. And well, that's not a good example. The game before that one was also against Shreveport. He was the hero of that game, he and Blake Coffey. Peltonen had 2 primary assists, one of which was uncredited, by the way, and also scored the game-winning goal in the shootout. To this day, we're now more than halfway through the season. This is the 32nd of 60 games this season that the IceRays will play, and still, Alexi Peltonen somehow is the only one to have scored a goal in a shootout. Now, albeit the sample size is pretty small in the IceRays' defense. They have only gone to the shootout 4 times this season. They've won 1 of them. They've lost 3. But Alexi Peltonen is 2 for 2. And nobody else has managed to score 1. And this game, given the way it's been played, would not really surprise anybody if these 2 sides re-meet in the shootout once again. Although I think both of them will be pretty dead set on taking away that satisfaction and those 2 points from the other side. The more games you can win in regulation, the better, not only for your record, but for keeping your opponent's record, their point totals lower. Because if every game goes to overtime and then goes to a shootout, then every team gets at least a point in the standings from that, and it can be really hard to make up ground or to catch somebody. And Shreveport, as it stands right now, again with an 11-point edge in the South Division. They're trying to just run away with the South Division title. The season's only halfway over, and a lot of other teams will, in all likelihood, have something to say about that before it's all said and done. But Shreveport is just hoping to run away with it and put themselves out of reach of anybody. Lone Star, Odessa, Corpus, and Amarillo all within 9 points of each other in what has become yet another tight, hotly contested South Division race, as it is just about every single year. So when we come back, Riley St. Onge will be serving another 1 minute and 4 seconds on that iffy slashing penalty he was found guilty of. Till then, we're going to take a break here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. Again, everyone, thanks so much for joining us on your Thursday night. We hope you had a wonderful holiday break. To those of you listening on HockeyTV.com, hope you're enjoying the camera work and the broadcast tonight. And to those of you on YouTube, hope you're enjoying the live audio stream. We're having fun at the American Bank Center, our first game here since December 3rd. And we're going to have to get used to it because virtually the entire second half of the season, that is a slight hyperbole, but most of the second half of this season will be played at the American Bank Center. After the IceRays head out to suburban Fort Worth to take on the Lone Star Brahmas on January 5th and 6th.
Let me hear all the Ice Ray fans. Come on, make some noise. We're ready to have some fun. Yes, yes.
18 of their final 24 games will be at home, which is something that they're not going to be complaining about in the slightest, given the nature of the travel schedule here, how far away the IceRays are from their closest rivals, the Brahmas, who are about 6.5 hours away. Certainly better to have gotten the road games out of the way in the first half than to do the other way around, which is something that seems a few teams that will be forced to do, i.e. Amarillo. They're in a predicament like that. Lone Star, having just wrapped up a 10-game homestand, they're going to have something like that coming up soon. So the IceRays have gotten their toughest part of the schedule over with and out of the way. And really it would be surprising to not see things just steadily improve for them from this point on. But they've still got to take care of business. 20 minutes remain in regulation at least. IceRays Mudbugs here at the ABC. 1-1 your score. We'll be back shortly, folks. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to IceRays Hockey on HockeyTV.com and on YouTube.
Years. They provide customers with moist, delicious cakes for all occasions, plus pies, cheesecakes, pastries, balloons, candles, and ornaments for all cakes. Give Janet's Cakery a call at 991-6212 or visit them online at janetscakery.com. Janet's Cakery opens 7 days a week. That's 991-6212.
Nickel is home of the Guaranteed to Sell classified ads, covering all Corpus Christi communities within a 75-mile radius. Place your personal classified with us, and if it hasn't sold in 4 weeks, we'll run it for free until it sells. Visit us in the Gulfway Shopping Center or give us a call at 361-980-0008 or online at cc.thriftynickel.com. Thrifty Nickel, where you get nationwide coverage with hometown service. Or at the office with affordable prices. Want more than just your windows cleaned?
On or group training sessions, Sports Fitness Solutions can help you lose weight, increase energy, build muscle, and get you feeling better today. Call Jeff with Sports Fitness Solutions today at 774-0874. That's 774-0874. And train like the IceRays do.
show by linking up to the IceRays social media arsenal. There are more ways to follow the action than ever before with pictures, news, videos, and exclusive content, including interviews and giveaways. Give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Corpus Christi IceRays, and on Twitter, Vine, Periscope, and now Snapchat at Go IceRays. The IceRays social media arsenal, the ultimate coverage of IceRays hockey.
The luxury of bayfront living at Sendera Bay Point. Located on Enos Jocelyn Road, Sendera Bay Point is newly renovated with upgraded units featuring granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, and designer lighting. Enjoy an on-site masseuse, waterfront yoga classes, water aerobics, fitness boot camps, poolside towel service, Saturday morning homemade resident breakfast, and of course, stunning bay views. Visit SenderaBayPoint.com for more details. Mention this ad for a waived application fee. That's SenderaBayPoint.com. Imaging is the official imaging center of your IceRays. The Best of the Best award winner 7 years in a row provides diagnostic imaging services in a caring, comforting patient environment with leading-edge imaging technology. Their extensive expertise in medical imaging allows them to not only give physicians and patients the very best in service and care, but your IceRays as well. So the next time you need imaging done, call Radiology and Imaging at 853-4503. That's 853-4503. Villa Apartments offers residents a prime location that leaves you minutes away from shopping, entertainment, restaurants, and beaches. Residents will discover a life of splendor with 2 pools, a workout facility, outdoor grilling needs, along with comfortable apartments located just minutes from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Island Villa Apartments are located off SBID and Nile Drive. Call Island Villa Apartments today at 994-1630 and set up your personal tour. 994-1630. Island Villa Apartments.
Fun, 30,000 square feet of trampoline park with foam pits, slam ball, a ninja course, and dodgeball. A place to let your inner spirit soar. Show you've got game. Harness your inner ninja and burn up the competition. For parties from 5 to 500 kids, corporate, and adult team building, it's the #1 place for fun in Corpus Christi. Get out, get active, get air. 4701 South Staple Street.
We're unable to take your call at the moment. Please leave your name, number, and a brief
When time is money and the message is urgent, you need two-way radio.
Unit 5, return to yard immediately.
Safe, reliable, distracted, driver legal two-way radio from A and B Communications with built-in fleet tracking. Vehicle mounted base stations, fleet tracking, on-site or wide area communications for business. Online at abcom.net. That's abcomm.net. When you need to
Talk business.
All right, well, welcome back, and thanks again for tuning in, folks, on your Thursday night. Hope you're having a good one. The IceRays with a 1-1 tie right now going against the Shreveport Mudbugs, who are in first place not only in the South Division, but in the entire North American Hockey League. They've got the best record, and the IceRays hanging right with them. They're actually out shooting them 23-20. Riley St. Ange tied things up 12 minutes into the second period. Reunited with Alexi Peltonen, and it feels pretty good for Riley St. Ange and for Alexi, I'm sure, and for Larry Youngworth, who got the secondary assist on that play. The three of them together are virtually unstoppable, and St. Ange and scored his 7th goal of the season. He is in the box or he will be in the box when the third period resumes. About half of his penalty has been served, but he'll have to sit another minute and 4 seconds once the action resumes. The IceRays on the night have dropped all 3 of their power plays. They've killed off 2 of their 3 penalty kills. The last of which were done so in very convincing fashion. We're going to give you a quick recap, or a quick Janet's Cakery out-of-town scoreboard update. There's only one other game taking place at the moment. The Minnesota Magicians and the Janesville Jets. Things escalated pretty quickly up there in the second period. Janesville, holy smokes, they scored 4 times, 3 unanswered to take a 4-2 lead. They were trailing. They allowed a goal just 42 seconds in. And then we're down 2-1 just about 10 minutes halfway through the second period. Then all of a sudden, goals from Pesek, from Steinmetz, and from McLaren propelled them into a 4-2 advantage over the Minnesota Magicians. That game early on in period 3. And again, the score of the game that you're concerned about, 1-1 between the IceRays and the Mudbugs. This has been your Janet's Cakery out-of-town scoreboard update. We've got about 4 minutes remaining before the third period is underway here in the Coastal Bend. Till then, keep it right here. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, everybody. As we said, Riley St. Ange will have to serve what's left of that slashing penalty he was called for. It's about halfway through. The IceRays are going to have to maintain focus, get down to some serious business here for the first minute and 4 seconds. It's always dangerous starting a period short-handed. If you're not completely focused, it can come back to bite you. And Brad Flynn sends out his two most trusted penalty killers at forward this season, CJ Regula and Brendan Miller. Matt Acioli, Connor Yanni, the anchors on defense. So the two number 8s converge for the start of the third period, brought to you by First Title Company. The faceoff was won by the number 8 in purple, Kieran Durgan, over CJ Regula, and we are back underway in this 1-1 tie here at the ABC. Shreveport hoping to regain their lead with time slowly ticking off the clock on their power play. This IceRays penalty kill is brought to you by Republic Services, looking to improve to 3 for 4 on the night. Baranowski's over to Burnett, now to Lane. Baranowski's left circle. Creeps in, takes possession, skates it back up the wall, and feeds it down to the goal line for Kieran Durgan. Baranowski's Durgan. Van Sweden's in front of Acton. In the deep slot, it's Andrew Lane. In the meantime, Durgan will feed it over towards Burnett. He had been playing catch with Baranowski's for some time. Lane held the line just barely, says the linesman. Baranowski's just shot it out off the outside of the left post. Came very close to regaining Shreveport's lead. Puck's been cleared all the way down. James Durham had a bit of a mishap, nearly put it into his own net. Miller with a little bit of contact on him, not anything to warrant a penalty. The puck popped high over Peltonen's stick. He gets back on it. Peltonen's got a semi-breakaway to the goal. He shoots and he just missed the net. Tried to tuck it upstairs inside the right elbow. Wilhelm fakes, gets Quisenberry to fall, shoots, stick save, rebound, loose in the blue paint. Sprawling, covering it up is James Durham. And the whistle has blown play dead. So mission accomplished. The IceRays killed off the penalty, which was the first item on their checklist starting period 3. The man who scored the goal, Riley St. Ange, was also the man who served the penalty. He was let out, and he's going to be flanking Alexei Peltonen here on this offensive zone face-off, either on his right or his left, depending on how aggressive Brad Flynn wants to be. I think the players will just decide that amongst themselves. They decide to switch places, open up the one-time option. Wilhelm right point, just missed the left post with the shot. Rattles back to the left point, and Rosenberg puts it behind the Shreveport goal line. Wilhelm on the one-timer that's sticked away by James Durham. Durham on the night, 24 of 25. Acton, 19 of 20. That's just what we've come to expect from these two goaltenders. Rosenberg flattens Cam Cook. I'll tell you what, folks. Fans here are going to love Ryan Rosenberg if today is any indication of what that young man will bring to the table. Nikolai Jensen sends it around. Procopio pinching in, takes a shot that deflects off the side of the net. As the passers-by, Jack Yannick and Jordan Fader, work together to intercept it. Alexei Peltonen flying up the left side. And his foot on the gas pedal, but it was broken up by Jordan Fader. And here comes Geisberg. The Geisberg rather on the counterattack and transition, lost it. Coffey up to Miller, Miller up to Halford. Halford put it in front. Here's a chance tipped on net. Durham is scrambling and the puck's knocked out of there. Julian Mackery had a point-blank opportunity in his IceRays debut to score. Durham lost his stick for a moment. The IceRays couldn't quite keep that puck alive at the blue line. They're on a delayed offside. They've got to regroup, and Spencer will take over behind the Mudbugs net. 3 minutes into this third period, it's already been a rather frantic one. Even though it was Shreveport who started the period on the power play, the IceRays appear to be the hungrier of the two teams to start the third stanza. Fedulov to Skolnick. Both teams completing partial line changes at the moment. Demizio in the F1 position, waiting for Shreveport to move this puck from in behind their own net. 16:40 to play in the third period. It's a 1-1 game here at the American Bank Center in the Coastal Bend. The puck's been tipped by Fedulov deep into the IceRays zone. Acton wheeled it around. Durgan got it down to Baranovskis, whose pass eventually works its way back to the point for Skolnick. Yanni with one hand on his stick, able to wedge it up towards Scott. Fired off his stick by Fedulov. Taylor's got a turn with it. Yanni rolls it along. Scott can't clear it. 3 purple sweaters prevented that from happening. Lane's shot got blocked by Kalen Taylor. Yanni rides Brendan Van Sweden into the corner boards and finishes his check off nicely. Here comes Angus Scott. Andrew Lane is defending him. Scott eluded the majority of that hip check attempt by Andrew Lane, who's now screening his own goaltender, trying to block the oncoming shot, which will come from Wilhelm, and Lane succeeded. Wilhelm gets it right back in the right circle and fires. This time it's blocked by Fairmouth, and it flutters off the netting and out of play. We're going to head to a brief 30-second media timeout for our first third period media stoppage. We'll be back in just a moment, folks.
Local retail bakery that has been in business for 25 years. They provide customers with moist, delicious cakes for all occasions, plus pies, cheesecakes, pastries, balloons, candles, and ornaments for all cakes. Give Janet's Cakery a call at 991-6212 or visit them online at janetscakery.com. Janet's Cakery opens 7 days a week. That's 991-6212.
As always, the Whataburger Minute of Madness did not fail to disappoint. No telling which section's going to win the loudest section in this building tonight. Venture to say it's probably section 104 seemed to have been the loudest on that. We'll see what the ruling is by our PA announcer, Pudge. Jack Yannick trying to steal it from Bud Winter, succeeds at center. Jake Transit is met upon crossing over the blue line by Trevor Wilhelm. Avila gets it into the Mudbug zone. Roof interfered with a bit. Not enough so to draw a penalty. Trevor Wilhelm backpedaling in his own zone. Here comes Noah Roof. Left side, slap shot, missed the net. He has scored from that range and farther before with his slap shot. We've seen it in Topeka. Cam Cook trying to sell a high sticking call. Instead, his team will be served with an icing. I hate to say I told you so, but I did call it. Section 104, the winner of tonight's Whataburger Minute of Madness contest. Congratulations to all them. About a quarter of the way through this third period. The Rays will go to an offensive zone draw in the Shreveport zone. 14:52 to play in the third, 1-1 your score. Shreveport scoring with just 49 seconds remaining in the first period to draw first blood. Riley St. Ange responding at the 12-minute mark of the second period. Reunited with Alexi Peltonen and Larry Youngworth. Certainly boded well for him in this contest thus far. Coffee into the Mudbug zone. Dominic Procopio receiving the bank pass there from Nikolai Jensen. Yoli in hot pursuit of that clearing attempt. No icing here. Quisenberry trying to pry the puck loose. He digs it out of the corner and banks it off the wall back to Spencer, whose shot is blocked a bit awkwardly by St. Ange. Quisenberry loses the puck to Blake Coffey. Trying to kick it along. Peltonen getting his stick in the passing lanes for Jordan Fader, who runs out of real estate. Coffey surrounding him. Fader gets back on it, finds some room, and gets it up to the top for a shot by Geisbers that deflects off the glass by Burnett. Larry Youngworth slowly carries it out of his own zone and weaves his way through center, slices over the Mudbugs blue line and drives wide on Geisbers. Geisbers takes him out of the play. Wheeling out with it now is Riley St. Ange, the IceRays' lone goal scorer tonight. Reverses it down to Garrett Halford. back checking to negate the opportunity from Georgi Fedulov. Shreveport's lone goal scorer, Alex Spencer. Bit of an errant pass there, turned it right over. Brendan Miller put it in front, and the shot diving save is made there by Durham to knock it away from Mackery, who again had a chance to score in his IceRays debut. Both Julian Mackery and Ryan Rosenberg have had 2 grade A scoring chances to tally in their first ever game as IceRays. Mackery's got it now as he spins and tries to throw one into the slot, intended for Miller. Knocked away from him and out to the neutral zone at the red line, and Miller is checked from behind. This will be a penalty. Mackery follows up, steps into the zone. Nice pass. Halford with a chance, and he loses it, and a fight's breaking out over on the near half wall. And whichever IceRay decided to engage in that, not sure he realized it at the time, but the IceRays actually had a 2-on-1 down low and a really potent scoring opportunity upcoming. Well, Shreveport catches a bit of a break, though they will be shorthanded if I'm not mistaken. Brendan Miller is sent to the IceRays box. Ryan Rosenberg being a good Samaritan, good teammate, skating his gloves back over to his captain. Right now, Jay Fewell sitting in the Shreveport sin bin himself. There was a check from behind on Brendan Miller by Jay Fewell, and Miller must have retaliated. There was going to be a penalty. That's the problem. The IceRays had a power play, a delayed penalty upcoming. They also had a small 2-on-1, a brief 2-on-1 down low, with Mackery and Halford closing in on net. But because of the little scuffle and the altercation that broke out, the whistle had to blow. Right now, 12:48 showing on the clock. 1-1 again is your score. Not changed since this third period has begun. We might see some sort of shakeup here. It does look like Shreveport will be on the penalty kill, which is I think the right call. That's what was the original plan. There was some room for confusion once Miller engaged with Fewell in that little tussle. Because Miller's in the box, I'm guessing. Okay, so Yannick's being sent over from the Mudbugs box. So what's going to happen here is Yannick will serve the first 2 minutes of Fewell's penalty. He will be let out at the 2-minute mark. And Miller, after that first whistle following the 2-minute mark, and then Fewell 2 minutes after that, if that makes any sense. Bottom line is the IceRays go to a 2-minute power play and a chance to gain their first lead of this game with just over a dozen minutes remaining in regulation time. Shreveport is on a delayed offside, a late call made by the linesman, but a call that was made nevertheless. That offside is brought to you by Ad Lyons. How about the confidence that Brad Flynn's got in Julian Mackery, putting him on the number 2 power play unit. Getting some very valuable minutes here against the top team in the NAHL, no less. Mackery, another Canadian boy, a native of Sackville, Nova Scotia. Halford with a bit of a mishap. Jordan Fader knocked it off his stick, and the Mudbugs' leading scorer gets it into the right corner in the IceRay zone. Yanni racing after it. Drops it now to Blake Coffey. Mind skating it up himself. This time he decides to sling it in. Geisberg slams it as hard as he can and succeeds in getting it down. Shreveport with a fresh 4. His power play is brought to you by AEP Texas. It's gone 0 for tonight. It's had 3 opportunities. Mackery overskated the puck. Here comes Kieran Durgan. Down the right side, shorthanded. Durgan wheels all the way behind the net and tried to center for Georgi Fedulov. Went off of an IceRays skate. Blake Coffey to Mackery. Across the blue line, but he loses the puck. Mackery skates now to the IceRays bench. A big booming body check over on the near half wall. Here comes St. Ange. Good stick check by Spencer. A fight's breaking out. DeMizio and Andrew Lane at center. Down goes Lane, and immediately the linesmen jump in to Lane's defense. Wilkinson and Bull have broken this thing up before it got any uglier. DeMizio is being escorted towards the box. The linesman changes course and starts him down the tunnel. Lane will do the same. That scrap didn't last too long, folks. Bit of a mismatch. And, oh my. There's a 6-inch difference in size between Jason DeMizio and Andrew Lane. DeMizio at 6'3", Lane at 5'9". He's also 45 pounds lighter. Got to admire his courage, but didn't exactly work out in his favor. So Andrew Lane's night is done, as is Jason DeMizio's. The Mudbugs will have to carry on without one of their top offensive defensemen, and the IceRays will have to carry on without one of their veteran power forwards. Both teams losing a pretty crucial piece to their bottom line. Now here comes Peltonen charging up the middle. Puts it onto his backhand, weaves and turns. The Mudbugs are back to full strength. Peltonen into the goal line for St. Ange, back to Peltonen, right circle up to the top for Matt Acioli, who walks the line and shoots. It's stopped by Durham through all that traffic. What an incredible screen shot by Matt Acioli, who's just become adept at finding those lanes, finding the right time to take his wrist shots. It's an art form, folks, and one which very few defensemen can ever master. And Matt Acioli is well on his way. So many moving pieces involved. And Acioli, when he takes a shot from the blue line, it very seldom gets blocked. Here comes Kieran Durgan, moving in on net to the backhand of the forehand. He just tucked it wide of the right post. He nearly had it, but he just missed. Now it's Roof, back to Winter, tapped it back to Roof, who slips in and fed it between Winter's stick and his skates. That was a tweener, and Winter couldn't do much with it. Durgan out the other way again, patiently waits and pops it into the adjacent corner, where it's pursued by both Yanni and Fedulov. Havrela's in there as well. The Mudbugs are content with Fedulov just killing some time, buying them some time to get a line change underway, which they're taking full advantage of, by the way. The IceRays can't because the puck's in their zone. Frozen there for the better part of the last 20 seconds. Finally, it's moved. Fader is checked by Havrela. And it looked like Taylor just upended Roberts Baranovskis. Fader gets right into his face. And boy, the tensions have flared here as this game's gone on. We've seen something of a domino effect. Matt Acioli sort of set the tone when he fought against Dylan Johnson in Odessa. That was back in November. Nobody had fought up till that point in the season. And since then, been a good number of fights. Noah Roof fought in the last game. Matt Novo got himself into a good Donnybrook as well, which is why he's suspended tonight, by the way. Regula delivers a big, healthy body check on Nikolai Jensen, but Brumfield puts his arm in the air. He's going to say that I think Regula need him, perhaps. That is the call, kneeing against CJ Regula. It's a penalty you never like to see called. That is certainly a dangerous play to knee somebody, but I don't really feel as though Regula necessarily did that. And just add another ice ray to the sin bin. CJ Regula, Jason DeMizio, Brendan Miller, all in the box. And the Mudbugs with a chance to regain their lead. It's 1-1. We're halfway through the third period. And things are really starting to heat up here. The benches just continue to shrink and shrink, go shorter and shorter as more and more players find themselves being penalized for hits from behind, for fights, for penalties, you name it. It's swung up to the right point. Geisber's over to Procopio. Left circle, hangs on and shoots. Glove snagged by Jacob Acton. Rays hoping to kill off their fourth consecutive penalty. They allowed a power play goal on their first attempt shorthanded tonight. Since then, they've been perfect. A miscommunication between the referee and the linesman before that puck drop. The draw takes place to the right of Acton. It's won by Shreveport. Geisbers for Roberts Baranovskis. Baranovskis gets it right back from Kieran Durgan. Durgan again, goal line. Back to Baranovskis, returned on the give and go for Durgan. Back to Baranovskis, left corner. Geisbers left point, winds and fires a slap shot, getting a piece of it with his left pad, Jacob Acton. And now it's Durgan. Now it's Baranovskis, left point up to the middle. Geisbers from straight away, misfired on the pass intended for Ryan Burnett in the right circle. It's battled for by a pair of bodies in behind the goal line. Baranovskis tapped it back on the return for Durgan, broken up off his stick. And on the counterattack, slowly it's brought up the right side by Mattis Haverla, who's checked from behind lately by Kieran Durgan. Haverla got it deep and took a hit to make the play. 52 seconds remain on this Republic Services penalty kill, the likes of which is 3 for 4 tonight, and the Rays hoping to improve to 4 for 5. Cam Cook dancing in, going wide on Taylor, pivoting and turning. Swinging it up to the top, D-to-D pass from Procopio to Geisbers. Now it's Cook, right circle. Cook slaps it down. And now it's Georgi Fedulov, still the only Mudbug to score so far. Geisbers with a long screenshot through a lot of traffic. Hacked out of there brilliantly by, looked like Riley St. Ange, who somehow found it through all those bodies and that entire crowd. And Acioli going one-on-one the other direction, ran out of room. Just a dozen seconds to go on this Mudbugs power play. Procopio try to give his team one last spark on the man advantage, but it looks like time has expired. The IceRays now 4 for 5 on the Republic Services penalty kill. Both teams have had strong nights while shorthanded. You know what they say, your best penalty killer has to be your goaltender, and I'd say the goaltending numbers have been strong on both sides tonight. 22 of 23 from Jacob Acton, 28 of 29 from James Durham. They've both been on their games, there's no question about that. Big transit is beaten to it by Connor Yanni. Knocked out of there, good play by Bud Winter to use his glove to punch it out of the zone. There's no rule against that. You can't close your hand on it and pass it, but you can punch it out if the opportunity presents itself, which it did. Winter is stymied, gets it right back. Left circle, Winter, hoping to slide one across for Roof, broken up by Alex Spencer, who got back in the nick of time. Spencer knocked it away from Matt Acioli, who's got to hustle back. Spencer getting a rare chance in the offensive zone, is toe-picked there by Blake Coffey. One of the few Mudbugs fans that are here wanted a penalty on that. Here comes Noah Roof down his off wing, crisscrossing and dropping it for Scott left circle with a shot. And a stick save is made by Durham. Puck is stolen by Blake Coffey. Shreveport's got a few gassed players down there who have been looking to get a line change for some time. As it rolls around towards the left point, Kaylin Taylor decides to play it safely and back off. And now Shreveport can resume its line change. 6 minutes to play here in the third period. It's 1-1. Taylor blasts it around. Right point kept in the zone by Jensen, whose long bid is handled by Jacob Acton, and no rebound. For those of you tuned in on Hockey TV, please enjoy this Zamboni race as we head to our second and final third period media timeout of this game. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Call at the moment. Please leave your name, number, and a brief
When time is money and the message is urgent, you need two-way radio.
Unit 5, return to yard immediately.
Safe, reliable, distracted driver legal two-way radio from A&B Communications with built-in fleet tracking.
Units 14 and 22, assist Unit 5 at well site 108.
Hand units, vehicle-mounted base stations, fleet tracking, on-site or wide area communications for business. Online at abcom.net. That's abcom.net. When you need to
Talk business.
A bit of a scrappy draw. Jensen is just sent hard into the glass. Right after that face-off by Mattis Havrila. And now CJ Regula in digging for it with Georgi Fedulov. 5.5 to play in the third period. 30-24 your shots in favor of Corpus Christi, but just one goal has been scored on either side. And it seems like Tyler Brumfield has just put the whistle in his pocket. He's finally starting to let them play a little bit, letting the softer stuff go now that things have heated up to a new temperature as this third period has progressed. Nikolai Jensen led it up to Kieran Durgan. Now for Dominic Procopio. Rattles one around into the offensive zone. It rolls clockwise. The IceRays will begin the breakout from in behind their own net. It's Kaylin Taylor, San Diego, California native. Goes to his left. Pass from Rosenberg found Regula. Play made by Brendan Miller, tries to squeeze past Jordan Fader, did so, but he lost the puck. Spencer over to Skolnick. Missed Ryan Burnett with the pass. Burnett racing in after it against Rosenberg. Burnett closed off by Rosenberg, and Wilhelm will try to punch it up. Here comes Mackery. He is absolutely leveled by Jacob Skolnick, and welcome to the NAHL South, Julian Mackery. Puck is deflected on net. Jacob Acton will glove it and hang on. Mackery is no stranger to the NAHL. No stranger even to physical play, I imagine, coming from the Philadelphia Rebels. But I'm sure he's learned pretty quickly that the NAHL East and the NAHL South are very different things. Physicality factor for one thing. It's just at a whole another level down here. Cioli will sling one around the boards, and Riley St. Ange will march out with it. Angles it off the backboard. Karams into the far corner. Shreveport able to just wedge it past their own blue line with a clearing attempt. Acioli hammering it back in. Durham out of his net behind it to try to roll it around for Procopio, and succeeds. Procopio angling it off the far boards. Cook accelerating it further, and now Acioli fakes one way, goes the other, but can't clear. Yannick and Cook sealing the boards on the right side. Here comes Coffey. Now for St. Ange. Brendan Geisbers fires it off the glass. Both teams making the safe play here in the closing 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Nobody wants to be the one to make the mistake that costs their team 2 points in the standings. And if this game goes to regulation, goes to overtime, both teams will get at least a point in the standings. Kalen Taylor. Yanni fires it off the corner. It bounces over top of the net. A bit oddly there. Regula pursues it against Brendan Van Sweden. Jensen will just spin it along his own end wall. Geisber's trying to clear and got it past a stepping Scott. Jensen lets it flutter past him. Spencer will feed it up to Zach Fairmouth. Kicked up to the stick for Baranowskis, who will fire. High chest save is made by Jacob Acton, and immediately his teammates surround him to protect him from any secondary attempt that might have stemmed from that initial shot. 55 shots on net, only 2 of them have gone in. And slowly but surely, that seems to be the trend that both these teams are going when they face one another, at least. It's not to say that they don't have high-octane offenses. Both of them clearly do. But lately, anytime they've come together, the games have been very low-scoring. Defensively sound and stingy. Durgan right now tied up by CJ Regula. He's having a hard time moving the puck, as are his line mates Robert Sparnovskis and Georgi Fedulov. Connor Yanni disrupting the two of them as well. Finally, it's pried up as far as Angus Scott, who sends a no-looker across the width of the ice. Roof taps it back. Acioli fires it out to Noah Roof. That Acioli now on the season with 17 assists, which leads everybody on the IceRays by a long shot. Only Riley St. Ange is really close to that number. Jordan Fader and then into the Ryan Burnett vicinity as he is crunched by Ryan Rosenberg. Almost called him Rosenbaum for a second. Defenseman on Topeka, or he was. Nikolai Jensen with just over a minute to play in the third period. Both teams will certainly be content in taking a point out of this game. And I think both teams certainly deserve that much, at least. At this point, right now at least, Shreveport is at an insurmountable advantage in the standings. That's not to say that could change, but right now, no team's really going to catch them in the South anytime soon. Transit, left side, tries to slip it in front, blocked by Acioli. These are the most important seconds of the game, 35 of which remain. Cam Cook defended by Garrett Halford. Cook wheeling to the inside, loses possession, jabbed up to the right point for Geisbers, whose shot was blocked, and Halford chips it off the glass and out to the neutral zone. Geisbers took a step. St. Ange tried to make him pay for it, but Geisbers recovered ground nicely. Transit the other way, 18 seconds. Fired an off-speed shot wide of the goal. Acioli hay bales it up to the point. Spencer keeps it alive. It's tapped out of the blue paint by Connor Yanni. Larry Youngworth floats it in from center, right into the glove. James Durham, and that's done it for regulation time. Both teams will take a point out of this game, and the IceRays' trend of going to overtime continues. It's something that didn't necessarily exist at the beginning of the year, but as the season's gone on, that's become a more and more prevalent thing for the Rays. Going back, we're going to use November 11th, we're going to use Veterans Day as the starting point. Since Veterans Day, in which Trevor Wilhelm scored the game-winning goal against the Topeka Roadrunners to give the IceRays the win on Stars and Stripes night. Since that day, they have played 13 games, and now more than half of them have gone to overtime. This is the 7th time in the IceRays' last 13 games that extra time has been required to decide a winner. Which tells you a lot about this division and how competitive things are. Also speaks volumes to the IceRays and their heart and their ability to battle until the very end.
All right, IceRays fans, the score remains tied at 1 apiece. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now.
So if there's one team that the IceRays would be content with in this division, taking a spare point, I think it's probably safe to say Shreveport would be it, just because they're the outlier right now in the South. Everyone else is pretty close together for the most part. Topeka certainly has a lot of ground to make up, but it's certainly better that Shreveport would get a point as opposed to an Odessa or an Amarillo or another team that's right on top of the IceRays in the standings. So the way this works, folks, we're going to overtime, sudden death overtime. The first goal that is scored in this extra frame wins the game. 5 minutes of this will take place, and if there's no goal scored in that 5-minute segment, then we'll head to a shootout, the rules of which will be explained to you if we get that far. Oh, and another catch. Overtime is played all in 3-on-3. And if you weren't excited before, you will be in a few seconds, I promise you that. Just about every chance up the ice is an odd man rush of some kind. And ever since this 3-on-3 rule has been implemented at all levels of hockey, games have ended a lot more quickly because of it. Of all the talent that's out there and the open ice and the opportunities to be creative. The IceRays with a lot of players who thrive in these situations. Blake Coffey, the choice to go on defense. He scored the game-winning goal. The last time the IceRays won a game in overtime was against the Lone Star Brahmas, and Coffey got the game-winning goal on that night, back on Friday, December 8th. So we're underway here on the 3-on-3. Ryan Burnett for Dominic Procopio in his own zone. The puck pinballs off of Burnett's left skate. He's got to go back to retrieve it. Procopio has it. Procopio leaves it, and out comes Durgan rushing up the ice. Blake Coffey defending him. Durgan going wide on him and trying to center. Coffey got his stick in the passing lane. Durgan taps it along back to Dominic Procopio. Angles it off the corner. Ryan Burnett in to play it. Coffey takes a swat at it, but it misses his stick. Durgan leaves it. Burnett switches places with Procopio as he's forced out of the IceRays zone. And has no choice but to turn it back to his own goaltender. Procopio. Fedulov trying to turn the corner. Youngworth defending him nicely. Forces him to the outside. All the way out to the far corner. Fedulov spins it to Cam Cook. The IceRays haven't had possession of this puck since the overtime started. Cook gains some separation and shoots off the glove. Loose puck. Fedulov off the post. It stays out. Somehow that didn't go in the net. Wow. Acton made a glove save. Fedulov had the entire net, and he just shot it off the inside of the right post. It's a game of inches, folks. Sometimes that's all it takes to decide a game. Fedulov still the only player in a purple sweater to put the puck in the back of the net tonight. He nearly did so twice. But Jacob Acton was just saved by his best friend to his left. Trevor Wilhelm. Got more overtime goals than anyone on the IceRays this season. Youngworth is tripped, spins around and tries to move the puck up to Wilhelm, misfired. Fader back the other way on the left side. Jordan Fader Weaving in behind the IceRays goal and slamming it up to the top for Skolnick with a long screen shot off the outside of the net. Transit watched carefully every step of the way by Youngworth. Gets the pass out for Roberts Baranowskis. Skolnick to the bench in the meantime. He's replaced by Dominic Procopio. Fresh off a line change, Procopio gets himself open. Will Baranowskis feed him? Doesn't appear so. He's playing keep away right now. Finally, he does pass up to Procopio, who will just carry it out of the offensive zone and reset. We're almost halfway through this overtime segment. The IceRays really haven't had much possession of the puck yet. On the right side, it's brought and fired over the blocker of Acton as it rattles out into the neutral zone. Procopio regathering. Mudbugs trying to reorganize in their own zone. 2:20 to play in this extra frame. 1-1 your score. The next goal wins. Kieran Durgan negotiates his way across the IceRays blue line, drives towards the front of the net, knocked off balance by Yanni, but he still has the puck. Durgan on his backhand, protecting it brilliantly. Yanni is picked by Burnett. Durgan will shoot. Waffle boarded away by Acton, but it stays in play. Geisbers to Burnett. Now to Durgan. Geisbers. With 100 seconds to go in overtime. Right up the middle, Brennan Geisbers looking to do it all himself. He missed the right post with the shot, and off that carom, he tried to hack it on net. It was blocked. Blake Coffey lobs it up. It's gloved down at center and brought in towards the net by Miller, who's knocked off of it by Fedulov. Didn't give him much room. It squirts free. Coffey shoots, missed the net. Blake Coffey with a glorious chance to win the game just then. Coffey wheels into the deep slot and fires again. Blocker save. Bounces up in the air. Coffey settles it back down again. Blue line Miller to Peltonen. Peltonen holds on into the slot. Shoots, he scores! Welcome back, Alexei Peltonen! Elfvidagen, Shreveport, the IceRays win 2-1. No secret, the return of Alexei Peltonen was long anticipated. His absence was missed, even though there were so many players who stepped up, like Coach Flynn said in the Flynn review before this game started. So many contributors who helped to fill that void, with Peltonen up in the USHL for the Omaha Lancers. Played 4 games up there. And even though the IceRays had so many players step up and do an outstanding job in his absence, there was still an element that just felt like it was missing. And it was just put on full display moments ago. His first game back, he gets a primary assist on Riley St. Ange's goal, and he gets the game winner in overtime as well. He continues with the overtime heroics against Shreveport this season. He was also the hero back on December 2nd with 2 primary assists on that game as well, with the shootout winner on top of it. So he has just been the IceRays go-to guy this season when they've struggled with Shreveport, and he has done it again. Corpus Christi improving to above 500 for the first time this season, now at 14, 13, and 5. Have just brought themselves to within 2 points of the third place Odessa Jackalopes. So the public address announcer here, Pudge, is going to announce the 3 stars of tonight's game. And certainly a well-deserved third star of the game performance for Jacob Acton. 25 saves on 26 shots. Can't ask for too much more than that. He has just had his best game of the season, Jacob Acton. And Riley, who got the ball rolling for the IceRays. Riley St. Ange scored their only regulation goal in his first game back with these line mates. The man who set him up also scored the game-winning goal upon his first game back in an IceRays uniform. And here he is, Alexi Peltonen. It would be quite an understatement to say that the fans are happy to have him back. So Peltonen, St. Ange, and Acton are your Sports Radio Corpus Christi 3 stars of tonight's game. We're going to take one last break here on the IceRays Broadcast Network. When we come back, we'll wrap up this game for you and let you be on your way. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. Again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. We're going to wrap this game up for you as quickly as possible and let you be on with the rest of your Thursday night. It started with a bang for the IceRays. They really did not mess around right from the get-go. They outshot the Mudbugs in the first period, 14-11. Unfortunately, the goal that Youngworth thought he had scored, which would have been sort of representative of the way the game had been played, the IceRays certainly deserved to score the first goal the way that they had been playing, but it was waved off. So the score remained level at a 0-0 stalemate, which Georgi Fedulov broke at 19-11 into the first period. Dominic Procopio, Cameron Cook being credited with the assists on the goal. It was just a simple play, a power play goal scored by Fedulov. Procopio just took a pretty routine wrist shot from the left point, and Jacob Acton had to kick his left leg out to stop it from going into the net, and when he did so, it jolted off of his pad right to Georgi Fedulov at the bottom of the right circle, and he was able to score. Pretty similarly, Riley St. Ange tallied as well, though it wasn't on a power play. It wasn't necessarily the same logistics on the setup, but it was a goal scored in the same area and off of a similar rebound conceded. St. Ange came down the right side. I can't quite recall if it was Wilhelm or Youngworth who sprung him on that brief 2-on-1, the broken 2-on-1 with the Hail Mary pass. Nevertheless, St. Ange made the most of it. He found Peltonen in the slot with a nice pass. Peltonen just whipped it on net any which way he could, forcing the goaltender, James Durham, to make a bit of an awkward save. The rebound rolled right out to Riley, who tapped it past him to open the scoring for the IceRays and tie things up. Nobody could solve either goaltender in period 3. Acton and Durham made 5 and 7 saves respectively in the closing stanza, which forced overtime. And Shreveport, for the most part, dominated the overtime. They had the better of the possession. They had the better of the opportunities, the more frequent of the opportunities. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's whoever cashes in. And Peltonen, boy, did he ever cash in. Excellent patient play. I think Miller and Coffey were expecting him to shoot when he got the pass in the right circle. He didn't. He faked. He waited for the Shreveport defender to bite and slide hopelessly out of position, skated into the slot, and rifled it inside the right post to beat James Durham and score the overtime game-winning goal on his first game back in an IceRays uniform. So it was an outstanding night for Alexi, and I'm sure he is absolutely thrilled to be back after a game like that. The only other contest taking place in the NAHL tonight is in the books as well. 6-3 the final in Janesville this evening. The Jets able to come away with the win. Matt Hanawal with a pair of unanswered goals for Janesville late in period 3. So that wraps up your Janet's Cakery out-of-town scoreboard update. Again, 2-1 the final here in Corpus Christi in favor of the IceRays. Again, folks, we'll be right back here tomorrow night if you'd like to tune in for that game as well. Same time, same place, 7:05 p.m. Central Time, puck drop at the American Bank Center. We'll be broadcasting that game live on HockeyTV.com and on YouTube as per usual. Hope we can have you on board. If not, come on down to the ABC for a night of fun. It'll be a frosty Friday, $3 pints throughout the evening. Should be a fun night. We'd love to have you out here. Again, for tickets, 361-814-PUCK, or visit the IceRays website at goicerays.com/tickets. Hope to see you tomorrow. If not, we hope you can join us on the air. If not, that's all right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Till then, till tomorrow night, so long, everyone, and thanks again so much for joining us.